suspect have indicated to us that he acquired the weapon in Casamas. The suspect have also indicated to us that he has not served in any of the security institutions, but was a member of the rebel group in Casamas.
The weapon used from his own mouth that he has been possessing a weapon for a very long time, and indeed this said weapon was with him. It was that court sitting was in Banjul from his own mouth. It was that court sitting was in Banjul. Indeed, this said weapon out that he had
group in Casamas.
The weapon used from his own mouth that he has been possessing a weapon for a very long time, and indeed this said weapon was with him. It was that court sitting was in Banjul.
The suspect have indicated to us that he acquired the weapon in Casamas. The suspect have also indicated to us that he has not served in any of the security institutions, but was a member of the rebel group in Casamas.
The weapon used from his own mouth that he has been possessing a weapon for a very long time, and indeed this said weapon was with him. It was that court sitting was in Banjul.
The suspect have indicated to us that he acquired the weapon in Casamas. The suspect have also indicated to us that he has not served in any of the security institutions, but was a member of the rebel group in Casamas.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, guy ngalu kontong alto na jaman dawa, Zach, kontong atira. Let me know nika my way. Alila cool. So, good morning. And it's probably afternoon elsewhere. So, whatever time you are on, guy ngalu kontong alto na kontong. So today we would just have a quick rundown of things, and the focus would be on these three personalities: the National Security Advisor, an interview that was done by Peter Gomez and Sankare shortly after the subpoena, as well as Mama Jabi's recent rants, and also the ultimate farewell to DIG Sowe, who is leaving the police today, as of this morning, unless things change or unless the regime decide to give him a new contract in the police, or otherwise they probably would later take him to one of their diplomatic missions, because we know that this specific case, the state must and will, of course, at the end tell us what the truth is. So what we want to discuss first is, I want to first focus on lawyer J. Dabo. Sometimes I am very baffled with the way he actually goes with his case. A great lawyer, unquestionable, but there are cases that have both political and legal implications. And this case is one of those. I do not understand Mama putting up a very big allegation on J. Dabo that he was hired by the UDP to actually defend Usainu Bojang. And J. Dabo, being a lawyer, decided to go to a media house to cleanse himself or to refute that. It doesn't make any sense to me. J. Dabo, you don't need a media house to refute Mama's claims. You know what you need? You need the police and the courts. The person you are defending is incarcerated, is in prison. His family is solely relying on you, dependent on you to make sure that justice is done for that person. If Mama came out and said that Usainu Bojang UDP nkolle tada Casamance kilo sannanje, inate kilo di Usainu Bojang na, puru we police wolo fakata UDP nkolle ko police wolo be falal anum police wolo fata. Yaje Mama nyimim be foteng. Sankare la entire script. Yamin follow fintininang. Corroborated everything Mama had just said. Do you understand that that exposes the criminality within the regime? So the more they allow Mama to speak, the more Mama will spill the beans. Because Mama I mean be for tenko. UDP ko le be faro koma UDP ko le ko police le be falale UDP ko dana ma fa police le be falale bar UDP ko ya fa ko mamode sabale ñol ni mo ko tamol ka be UDP wala ya fa ko be jola police to ka do police le wala sister ni mo ko tamol bute kan no so okuma kangolu man sakunda wala ta kajin tilimbali ya sifa ke murunda nan mama e wala murundi kan nan ko UDP ko le ko police be falale anum police le fatale ko UDP ko le tata Casamance kido sannanje e nata de Ousainou Bojang bara ngamire tolle control ko Ousainou Bojang rebel and then he was in the Casamance rebellion, and it is where he acquired the weapon. Mama contradicted in her new statements the National Security Advisor. But now National Security Advisor control ko this guy acquired the weapon from Casamance. So if he acquired the weapon from Casamance, how comes Mama now claim that UDP ko le tata kido sannan Casamance nata di Ousainou Bojang? Ousainou Bojang UDP nga jumala lo. Mama manda woda bara faka fa mole ko Ousainou Bojang ba siyo be la kasola to. Then Dabo, you don't need to go to a media house to talk about that. On behalf of this family, you need to go to the nearest police station to lodge a complaint against Mama and for Mama to be arrested, just like they arrested Ablai Sanyang, and now telling that one of the charges they're putting on him is talking about a case that is already ongoing. What nonsense is that? The prosecution team of the Gambia Police Force, Allah entire office, I don't care who is there, including my personal friends, Allah Hakilotu. Mansa killing jamane buka dunia bang. You put in the case of APRC's bureau burning because you do not want the guy to get any bail. Moro, yaje nimu police odi, eka tonyala tamandi. You don't use the law against people because you want to victimize, you want to suppress, and you want to subjugate them. That is not how the law works. Nko, atol police prosecution for Mama I mean for atol mo kununko just on Monday Mama was down, at the police headquarters. Munati nalma arrest. Mama in Kalabante Diamolo Miniketenting talking about the case that Mama herself is a part of. Why didn't you arrest her? But of course, you're saying that this guy talking about this case, saying that government knows something about it. Alco, that is one of the charges. But why didn't you arrest actually Mama Jabi, who said that Ousainou Bojang is going to spend the rest of his life in prison because he's the one that killed the cops? How could Mama justify that? Ngamro Mama killing all incriminating audio. Ousainou Yafate Daming Katale police solfa is lost. And of course, your DPP came and also said the same thing. Police soul entire Ministry of Justice. That will be mutapal. I don't care who is there. But the entire prosecution department of the Gambia Police Force is a disgusting disappointment. And we will wait for the names of the persons who went to court today to tell us that Ablai Sanyang was talking about the who killed the cops case. When you know that your own people killed the cops and they lied about them, and then you have the audacity and the guts to go to court and alkaka modole charge wala atolo mam balafaso atolo family. Bara nimmimbe palasi ñino la yaaja me masa kunda keretene nimmimbe police kunda be palasi ñino la dro alkatu ñum basara ya sifal. But come to think of it, not too long ago, if you talk about this particular case, Sankare was subpoenaed to court. After Sankare's testimony in court, he went back to Peter Gomez la radio. What was he saying? Peter Gomez referred to the court's language as discourteous. And discourteous, that simply means that the court's language is rude. But this court case has been insulted by Peter Gomez, caricatured by Sankare. And even the defense counsels, they were caricaturing them. A case that is ongoing. It is radio to wali to subpoena. It another case to you actually testified. You are a part and parcel of that case. But the next day you went to a radio station to caricature that same court and of course refer to their language as discourteous. Mana nalmo wala arrest. As parties to the case to actually speaking about that. At all prosecution, prosecute. Of course, I'm not here to defend that guy, but I have a focus, and that is particularly this case. Nahatoloko Ablai is talking about this particular case. That is one of the charges that you put on him. And of course, the APRC Bureau Burning, we know the reason behind you putting that as one of your charges because that's an unbailable offense. So you don't want the guy to get a bail. So Allah intention mominati to actually intimidate. Alta mo intimidate no la nyimbanko kam kwatange sanje tankanya ntale. Adam barola mansa kundabe jilali. Ana manji fonate tora tuta toro kono de. but nobody is going to screw this country anymore. Let that be clear to you. All of you in prosecution. Because lumbe sila, alsava ko karanyo lebe noma, ning atarato man karanno minitambita kunum, alneneta karanna. Nim palasi nyino le jarata atol ye kal fongo dundi kulami alon kalmanya na dunna je, alneneta karanna. If some of you did not learn from what the past teaches, then you will never learn. If some of you did not learn from the things that are put on you from the past, then you will never learn. And I'm speaking to the entire prosecution department of the Gambia Police Force. But J. Dabo, one thing you must know, the government of the Gambia, out of its own accord and willingness, will never arrest Mama Jabi. So what on Tolkien go and levy charges against Mama Jabi. Go and report Mama Jabi's current talks to the Gambia Police Force, and let's see what the police will do. Because police will lay from Mama Jabi arrest because they are all complicit in the killing of their own men. I would say it. Let me come and then you can arrest me too. And so what? Go. The most evil person, the best or the worst they could do to you is to kill you. You will not feel anything, and that's where it all ends. But Martin Natonyama Sabatin Banko Kang. Go. But look at some of these folks, these little folks you see at that prosecution are folks you went to school with, folks that you know, folks that you sit and lead. And if the same folks are actually the ones who are masterminding some of these nonsenses in our country, we have the audacity and the guts to tell you, irrespective of the personalities in that office. That is an office I used to go to. My own personal friends are there, and I don't care. Tonya mo tonya drone tabuka monya kono jibe wala hanin nike la laran keline tonya mo tonya lati batara yal bola tulaje cause nalbe den tan bankolla. Oh, Ablai Sanyang said the government has a hand in probably in the killing of the cops. Jumale ma wolong nim bankoka. Oman koy jumal la Gambia bankoka ko masa kunda fengo femfo about the killing of the cops. Be mo tapalian in tajintian in tilimbalian in faniality. Connect the dots. The National Security Advisor told us that Hussein Bojang acquired the weapon in Casamas where he was a rebel. That's a blatant lie. Why did he lie? DIG so told us that Hussein Bojang was with the gun at the UDP's court case in Banjul. Why did he connect the UDP to it? Mama Jabi ko UDP le tata Casamas ye kido sananje nata di Hussein Bojang na kai police wala fa kado UDP ko le ko police wala be falal anum police wala fatal wote to le be police wala fa koma mama bara mun ke silan ne fe ka fa ko wolbe morial la ko kono pour ko kana to nya kana tamaje mama ngamre te musu morolti fo le la moria forte de dat mama ngalon ne lungo minna police wala command on a Tuesday at the Ministry of Interior at talantang temo atol tada je any police kebal ni Ministry of Interior ye million of dita ni nyongolola ko atol le to nya fo Hussein Bojang na ko do atol lo fan yanying ye million of dialla wala kamma. We have the documents and we have the invitation letter sent to the police inviting them to that particular thing that was actually signed by one son or whatever, at the Ministry of Interior. I think it will be important I read that document. Give me a second. That yep. So I'll read the content of the letter to you. Now, this letter was written by the Ministry of Interior, and then it was actually sent to the Inspector General of Police, Police Headquarters, ECOWAS Avenue, Banjul, on the 13th of October, 2023. And the subject here is presentation of a bounty check, in connection to the shooting incident of police officers around the Sukuta traffic light. Now, the details of it says, following the tragic shooting of 3 paramilitary officers around Sukuta traffic light junction on the 12th of September 2023, leading to the death of 2 and critically injuring 1. This could be recalled that the president, of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency, placed a bounty on the heads of the alleged killer. In view of the above, this office wishes to cordially invite you, the Inspector General of Police and His High Command, to the Ministry of Interior for the presentation of the above-mentioned check to people who collaborated with the Gambia Police Force in providing relevant information leading to the arrest of the prime suspect. The date of the event is slated for Tuesday, 17th October 2023, 10 p.m. sharp at the Ministry of Interior Conference Hall. So, on this particular day, Mama Jabi and Co. were at the Ministry of Interior Conference Hall where they received the $1 million. But the Ansi Jaw Hainang Hane for B, Amantaransu received. She was recommended for overseas treatment. Alma Samba overseas treatment until to a point that almost after 2 years, she's coming out to tell that she's still suffering and needs treatment. When you ati natolo mo Samba jara rola. So what the Gambia police will nimbi atoloko, you are a force that is impartial, not involved in politics at all. Why would you arrest Abdullah Sanyang and charge him for speaking about this case while you leave Peter Gomez out, who actually said the language of the court is discourteous, kind of ridiculing and caricaturing the court and laughing out loud about it? If Sanjay was your brother, you will not accept anyone sitting on their radio to caricature and laugh about their death, and of course, a court case that is trying to establish the truth about the killing of those folks. I'm in hell. Like Google and so valid. You see people who died, you they daw chow. She say me a kilo bit in the marcia kona teji muna wala si seri ngol sab iko kasila muna la chocho. Don't wati. Don't manke odinti. Akan doltara lo kore na chocho. Folen ko andi rek ñu uyu ci len fofu faale wu ma Peter faale wu ma Paul ku fi def ludul nonu rek ñu wax la duy dega bi ana yow warulo wax ki yow war nga faté ki pour lan aka sama la jindi fo. Yet again, those people went there to kind of castigate the court, but nobody arrested them. Again, J. Dabo should understand that all of these people will not do anything about this case because it's the regime. So anything that has to do with the regime, J. Dabo has nothing to do in a media house to kind of discredit Mama or to say Mama mnyamato. Amanke nyamato di Mama ntenite man kende akata mamati. Momin sa fanya fono 1 million soto noje. Sa inteni tebe sino la nyade nga foko mnyamato. Luolu ngabe kuma tilimbalo fola mole mobe nyaka sko kuta kering. I will not actually say the United Democratic Party should take this and that and that. That is their political party and whatever they choose to do, fine. But as a family and a close associate to Senu Bojang, it becomes your responsibility because this dude is in prison and this lady is out there saying all kind of lies in his name and she's a part of this case. Then it is your responsibility to report this matter to court. Not only to report it to the court and also to make sure you bring Mama's audios. Kafoko, all man necessary tell Mama la nyunkuma kama la kamini befote. They are necessary. The reason why the court or probably the DPP and Mama said the audio is lost. Ite yela mo audio la usenu kamin fane Mama kamin fo manyoje. Banim bolong. Usenu ba fola jana ko mbetam be kan na fa. Mama said, "Oh, you police will mean father tank." And then Usenu said, "Mbetam be kan na fa, ngamo jamata raje ko police musudolo bun ye dol fana ye mo fula faje, mbetam be kan ngamo jamata raje." That's the only part that Usenu actually talked about the cops. Every other thing was like natuba muso ngania mul bolo se nyaonya, ko yam fata nyala bareala tambiral akabagasul beta ayebeni la bantalankolia. This guy is talking about natuba wetebe urle fama because tapale mola muti moli yelo wala nyawa bara muso moro o kasila UDP ko la mori ala mona la trebe fania kensangol bara UDP ko le tuje bare me tuje fan ko do be je franco jam folo ko do no ani won den ka ndene de be dal be ngara maltu bare daga min foida ba man fudu moti o banko ka mol ke de filije wo nyama as if what because Baro is president, who gives a Alon do be yalka mol kam fandi lanka dafa kumo dol for many alon ko 1 or 2 people will be disappointed. But the fact of the matter is that the regime is in desperado. Total desperado, and that is why this regime must come to its knees. Complete collapse because imam mona fa fenna namanke fangoluti. Abe wala kono UDP jowya nying mama jabi wala sembentu ya katandin nako amanda mfango ka useni boja ne tara kilo sango whatever ko UDP ko le tara kilo sannan kasa machine na ta gambi ya dungu sen boja mbulu ba useni boja minna na manke UDP kada ma UDP kala kula ne ma adaman tra UDP ko UDP ko beta kilo sannan no kasa machine nyadi de na o dungu sen boja mbulu. And in justifying all her lies, why would the sister actually get him a car all the way to the border? Because we know the guy has a fundamental problem to deal with. And Alatuawolanyung problem was actually getting to his head. So that is already a justified reason. So why would you try to connect ngamira atolla witness wala ko in court ko wolungo minna fango ko faro keta wolungo suto nying atele usino bojan samba for border. So nita ko waso mo la useno bojantata wote you are confirming what we were saying ko waso mo la useno bojantata anda manke wolungo wote ita ba tandin to la ko atolla witness sol ali e coach nyami fango buka tonya fono because Allah tonya la buka tembe no abe mo faniality. And you also have confirmed to us that ko UDP ko ko police sol tenin wale atina police sol father you confirmed that because UDP was complaining about the police were killed to frame the UDP. There's an mama ite will confirm jantoli. Imanda wala, but you put up fresh allegations against the UDP. That is why the UDP needed to sue you for you to come and confirm where, how, and who among the UDP members went to Casamas to buy a weapon and give it to Usaino Bojang. There should be concurrent cases. Nyin case la nyanda nyumansa kunda boendila. Ala politiko no. Albebe siring alba fola nyoy jana ko talib jana alba fola nyoy jana ko kar jana use your brains. That every day, idiots will be there alleging you of things that nobody has any clue about. But instead of using your brains to actually deal with this decisively, this is a case that will expose the government of complicity in the killing of the cops. Because now that Mama openly alleged that it was the UDP that went to Casamance and bought a weapon and give it to Usaino Bojang, then Mama should be able to verify her information and tell us who among the UDP bought the gun and gave it to Usaino Bojang. But again, we will actually get a counter sue against Mama because we will report this matter to the police if J Dabo fails to do so. I would send somebody to talk to Usaino Bojang and he will personally give me that go ahead, and I will get a lawyer to actually counter report Mama to the police if J Dabo fails to do so. But come to connect the dots here. Ning ayatarako this Sanyan guy, even though agakumo dulu fongonda ka mara nyinkoro ge fanande moye bule free. But that's not my point. My point is, if you now allege him of, because he spoke about a particular case, you said that is one of those, charges you're putting on him. Atol prosecution. For Mama, I mean for atol momoi. Atol mol baby prosecution department of the Gambia Police Force. Why didn't you go and arrest Mama Jabi? If talking about that case was wrong, that the guys, because he said government probably knows something, Atol uniform prosecution, you all know within your inner selves and of course your conscience that government is complicit. Because Atol investigator in police prosecutor that ali alon na mimbe in dunia. But until not all Lunde. The person who is prosecuting this case, be ready that we will come after you. And then we will expose your injustice and Allah tapaleyalu. Irrespective of who is involved. We've got to the point that we are not looking at interpersonal relationship. We make sure that the truth and justice actually prevails. Abem wallet. Moro, manda teria jibela kafoko kamul bari wala mudake badara soron tilimbali aka ni mediara nato la palasi nyino kande. No momanda monya kono jibela wala. Abulaye minfalia mwele wala tinalia muta. Nobody reported him for you to actually arrest him. Mama minfalia mwele, so nobody should report her for you to arrest her. But again, we will report her and then wait to see what you are going to do. Because even though we know you will not arrest her on your own accord, because almanke motilindin almanke tonya moldi tapale la malti. At all police prosecution, not only momo mutaja what time police will alka every weapon that you people get alke bill and la katandi mulla ko ngani namuta. Why didn't you do that case when it comes to Usain Bojang says? To this day, we did not see the weapon, and the military and the police are both complicit because it's the military that said that they did the ballistic examination and only 3 bullets came out of that gun. But again, ning ablay kale ko police aton di mansakunda kulonje. Let's give a proper analysis to it. Muna atin na mansakunda kulonje. Mansakunda la follow findite control yoko. Mi ye police solo fade. Aye fa politico toyala. That some politicians were behind the person. And the person works in Brikama Area Council and was at the UDP court case in Banjo. Just for all of those things turned out to be lies. And Muruntalko soldier saba wallom witness salty. But you relied on public opinion on the person who killed the cops wear a combat boot. Altara usenyo yale combat boot o tananjala ala broda la combat boot alia samba code among kungala. But yet again, moto mimbe jemi ala kala number plate of indita fatal police or fango yo moto muta. Yara fa moto nyim police or tam. Muna tin nalmo prosecute. So ablaya minfo ko police kunda wala masa kunda kulonje alia fan yale minfo wala ya tinam people would actually conclude that alia kulonje ka ni man kulon ko minte be fan ya fola je mun dalil kan iman kulon ko minto moto min tarata je ko ni modo tiyo ni wala police lo fa o police lo ti andum kido be o bulle monati natolo mo mota to interrogate that person ning ayataral mon kulonje. Baralla nyin sojar sabo do ko ate batul sok la sodo barete batul sok sodo de me bori me mabo fayta ka bori mono mo mi yalon ko kido babu la batolo bunkang ite me bori pour ka te mabo ite ko ka bula kiditi yolo noma. No military sensible military officer will do that. O man ke tonyata no lo moti. Barale moneke shortly after you compensated these 3 military officers by taking them to Turkey. Again, kido mi yeb mo fa ke atoli min fal dai min foko. Kido nyenjatale on the day of the incident because this is what one of your witnesses said. Baratolo police le finitalko, you people did not pick this weapon until after a week or after 10 days. You know why you did that? To conceal every traceable evidence in the case. Ole atin nata ko it cannot be subjected to DNA. Moro, mole nyamama. You can use the law against the people because wala diata atol ya battle the bulu sembo battle the bulu bi bara man sakilin jamane buka dunia bang Gambia BCD take it because mo be ya jalo ko ninda fana nga fa be fana mutal lako abulay para alsa lon ko man sakilin jamane buka dunia bang ya ke janne faatu poto juwoto biale wala nyamental ya sembo sodal da feko be sodalti Barala be mo bele jande yalla bañu fi ken ñepp la fi nekkal kon yen mi tok prosecution ale ko ke ñu man sakunda so ma it will come after you ngodi aji so biyo be bokanjele more than 25 police officers already made calls celebrating that ila mo bota jele ndeysaan alay min longo kanyantale ndemang I have nothing against this man. I don't even know him. Nana mbemfa nana nyama nyoja fam barala kuma kangole nyinka wuliya double double ka lamol la fondin kele kan sade kon alko mo be ndeo kan tol manke wodiniti na kunduta man tafu brufu ndolong wala sodan we will defend it to the letter and we don't care what we get out of it even if it is going to be a life imprisonment. Who cares? I better be in prison with dignity than live on lies and fabricated stories or a society me along ko tonya tanwe ka balu wala. But on yako apply dia muta nying case letter so ko mama mi ya long ko is a witness to the case. Mama ni te la moy no apply la fay ko ka apply jabi la wote te la audio mi ya sakule dunia be ko na be telephone ko no han fo bi ngam deta ko filter. Bare obe molo bulu janne abe molo bulu janne kuma kango kuma kambe fo jabe molo bulu janne woto UDP take your responsibility Kumo metal kanni. And not because our interest is in this particular case, but of course this becomes a national case, and at some point you people got to help us establish the truth in the case. So your continued silence in this case is complicity in my view. Because if Mama could come out and say, UDP kole kido sanang kazamasi nata dungu simbo jambula atolobe daring kokuta caring. What is the point? You are busy talking about Malong for kafanya di la fang about national security advisor kire bukara. Wo mo kalanta mo mini along ko mo na fafene me fa na fafene na manke kuma kalanta fort. Stop focusing on non-issues. You know what the issue is? The disgusting regime that is up to no good. Because if you focus a lot on this ethnic nonsenses, you know, people are so tied to their ethnicities. It might compel another person to say something to other people. Nyine la fin na fanga be moment wala nyende ko. Mbata nga nyinkumovo ni mo kilim fula kamfati to ko ne fana fem fo ethnicity. Isaje o mo le kamfati rongole ta carte fa adam baroy. Wota kela janyina sango. Wota kela jande. Alla tactics will alcohol play on Nyama because Alman Fenso to offer to the Gambian people. The only thing you have to offer is your negative ethnicity and of course your prejudice, you know, and Allah Wulial Nimfanialo, Walter Tamala. They cannot actually go this time around. No. Gambians will come together to ensure that there is a change of regime in that country because this government is the most corrupt, the most inept. This kakistocratic regime cannot remain or cannot continue to lead our country just because they kind of bring that ethnic division, putting our mind on non-issues instead of the real issues that we should be accounting them for. Masakunda minka niso wafu uli lulula wala $100 kem. I don't think niso wafu less than $1,000. Moses siko ka vote ko ha because of your ethnic rhetoric. We are still going to vote for that regime. Are we thinking as a people? Who cares if I am a jola mandinka or whatever? Nko mbal konti bola minna wala mutonyati na banko na fulo mimbala bola alia maranyadi la battery an intilimbali yako na mbal konti bola wala mbal bondi la je wala kama. We don't care who comes in there, either you are this or that. Oman ken dolla hajiti. At the end of the day, ntolo be killing. Hey, inaran dolla sariro. Nemo banda odla janni ka fo ko mbadin karate gi signolo wala folo ka foda. Ninkulio be keri signol wala ka futa obe sate belo to Gambia wote baila wona neta baila mini be siring wolda mallom badi ngolti wota to la nyim political kuma kensengol minal ka fo model. They are focusing their minds on that al kakala wol mira because woman sense make don't respond to non-issues because they are non-issues. The more you respond to them, you pay attention to them, you actually make them issues. Kabango beje buka moja before mo kalantang kebaring killing furing mima fana fano kado momi ya fana fano ni be diam la ka fofam kono fo ko moy nyanta wolonal so ni momi mo la to be kala energy be dundi wolto when you have real issues to pay attention to. Imagine somebody accusing an entire political party of going to Casamas and buying a weapon to give it to somebody to go and kill police officers. Woman kumaya tolia and then you want to pay attention to a non-issue? Nia fodoli amerebe do yakana moro. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that this regime is ousted. It doesn't matter which political divide you belong to. Every opposition is now my political party, and we will all have a say and a stake in everything that has to do with bringing this regime to its knees because it's good for nothing. Focus the conversations on what the Gambia needs and what it needs to do better on. But that does not, put aside the fact that you need to refute some of the nonsenses that are being put out there. But refute them with facts and knowledge. Not emotions and sentiments. Hakilo laka mojabi. Maninga kangolong mo ikoni kamfato e kabate. Moro ibuko domono. Hakilo laka nyambosing. Ora hakilo laka dunia tamandi. Nibe hakilin tango jabi la hakilin tayala wote nabi manfata woto hadama dingole nyanta la ngakuli jibenu na banko kata nyami. These people's biggest strength is ethnic division because imam ku kata na banko molie. Imam baluo fali molie. Nyinle kondole ko man boto bola 900 to ibakela 900 but sai sambi simente boto fanga bofula 900. Talk about the economy. Talk about the status of, people's, living standard. Talk about the many issues that are happening. You have all these lawyers in that political party, but yet you cannot actually make sure justice is done against some of these, riffraffs in the streets who will talk nonsense every day and any day they feel like. But ali alon na ko nyuma sakunda te wala aresla. Kadi ka mimfo wala ka dia nyuma sakunda kada nyuma sakunda ka balu wala la. Because they understand the social fabrics of our society, because we are so much tied to our ethnicities. At least probably not some of us who are from very diverse ethnic societies. Adama mando kono, akwaitan tolol ka mando kono. So minkum maata wala nyintiko. It's not the sentiments and the non-issues that his people will bring up to charge you up so that you can say something that the people will rely on, that to say, imagine, ekatofitnol manda karte file. No, bring about the facts and the issues. Almano alen tol dol dundi jentol nganano. But albeto nyala tamandladi. You cannot be in a political party and then having key positions and then you all just fold your hands. That's why I like Yankuba Dabo. I did not like him because he's UDP. I like that dude because he's working for our people. Because at the end of the day, we are from West Coast region. That is what we care about. That is who we are. That is our communities. And that's the leader, irrespective of the political divide he came from. Initially, I think I never met that dude. The first time I ever saw him was at Afrimed or somewhere. But I don't even know him. I was like, oh, that's the UDP guy there. He can be very difficult. That was my thought at the time. But look at the dude when he was giving power. He's doing all he can to ensure he changed the lives and livelihoods of our people. Go to communities. Build your relationship with the people. Have that connection, have that link with the people. Go to the grassroots, have those conversations, know their basic problems. Go and watch football with the people. Go to Tesitos, inni e bulo kolo ko sinyola, tanata wala. Ko ika kenya min brikama mutundo minta waratale. Dun satel ko ni mole kachanno. People don't dislike you. People like you, if I would say it. And we don't like you because you are UDP. Because you got tonya la fasa. Because tonya mola mwite and we buka nyim politician ul kama nyame ka ko mboda ngana kumo nyande pour mole carte fa nya politician tapale do na kama nyama molo tonya mu tonyalti, people are going to like you. They don't like you on your truth. Ni mante like la fanal ye kongela tonya kan. Baraka fo ko ka mole deceive, that manipulative tactics of nga nice pour mole kanu moro ni mole be kanu la ye kanu la tonya kan. If you are going to get votes in principle. If you are going to lose votes in principle. Wala mo hadama yati hadama dunga iselo tonya kandro andon to ngeje wol silo ka wala tinela ko diaran to li. And we are unapologetic to anybody about it. We don't care what somebody else thinks, because there are people who have a general mentality of, oh, it's this party, and then of course there is that injected dislike about it. No, but now look at the status of our economy. Look at the status of the welfare of Gambians. Look at Hanik Cemento from Akodo Bebul from Itasodola. You have to pay and wait for weeks before you get it. Some people are already waiting for months without even getting the cement they already paid for. There'll come a time maybe for an man from Mbajola Lankalaba to Janakanana. That will not tell you if you are this or that. Konko yala o malon foy mu serial ti foy mu manjakati wala foy mu balantati wala foy mu jolat o mo lon ngo. The collective action problem in the Gambia is the regime that is in place that is good for nothing. Karnali abla sanyambula mama jabi wasa tara banko kan abe yanda la kadi ada nyame ko kuma kalanta fola ko tambila e jeki ta ko UDP ko le moriya ba ngame te musu moroldi wore de la kalama bamba ko lebe ko nyindu ninka nyoko ne mala fito nya tamaje ba to nya be tamala jela bara ni UDP ko le moriya la pour to nya kana tamaje e wote fane la moriya ke ba wete musu moroldi pour to nya tamaje, but yalo you have that deceitful life that you actually use to bamboozle people, just like the previous regime was using religion to make Gambians feel like, hey kara boy, maybe akumo fano tal ni jeki ta ke jela dunta jabota jan comme alla moro bal dol ka fanya min ko ka yema ne bare tate mo da yiru kunto la jine bisa moro alen ka kala nyo barandi to nyadro ne kala bam. The Gambia's problem is not about existing political parties. It's about our mentality and how we see each other. Commando Jang, somebody said they needed not to put Wolof as, that pilot project for, education, local languages. And I was vehemently against it. I said any language could be chosen to actually be used as, that pilot, because that's a pilot. A pilot is a test. You can use any Gambian language to test it. I got some people who are very much fixated with the wordings, hypocrite. No, I'm not Allah mandin kaya mandara nyato. Allah jola ya mandara nyato. Allah fenket di ya mandara nyato. To nyamu kilinati. Then Peter talk his rubbish talk. I said, dude, that was wrong. The same people would jump and say, moro, aiming for the tonyalom. So wale ati na hana manu weke mira la janika diam. Go, mbe kilinjang. Alkana mul barandi nying mo furungol na mo kalabantela diamol al nyanta focus la minka wolong ntolisa mune kenoga alsa mune kenoga mbie. What exactly does this country need? In principle and of course on facts. Wala mukudi miya lonko akumayata le purun tolongalo. Who will come to Bruford and tell me your neighbor is a fool or somebody is this in our kind of forgetting? We were born and raised in that bond, in that community, and we have no problem at all. We have no ethnic, sensitivities at all. So who is a politician whom I do not know? I don't know where he comes from, but we have a common problem of what? Of what? Our living standards are a problem. Of course, access to water and quality electricity is a problem. We know that injustices in our country are something to look at. So what collective problems are beyond what somebody thinks in their negative ethnic thoughts. Mbaga don korda ko nga fo ga karanyol mu nyene wala karanyol. So what omanken to la haji na problem ta what? You know what our problem is? The people we tax to run the affairs of our country and the way they are running it. Are they running it right? No. Should they go? Yes. And of course, mansakunda manyan tambila sanjitan nandola banko kang. Wada Gambian ko lalang amira. Mo kinungol mini along ko kunung. Ebe no mansakunda adolto janko wala sembentu yaka Gambian ko lo faka tajirin dean intilimbali al tilingila. O mo kinungol la wulta bibe yung mansakunda sembentu yaka. Ano niya abla sanya kumo dolo fobi. Fenke la follow yo for jande atondi mimbe National Assembly fa bakar to monjara. For ma for janko the election was rigged. To even say election is rigged, which government should even focus on arresting somebody for saying that? Ning ayatete along ko ite election will win comfortably, and then somebody is saying election is rigged. Why should you even bother about that? On politics diamolati, you shouldn't even care about that. But it's a very sensitive government that knows nothing that they could do better. Where would you see elections happen in West African people will not say, hey, election Osunyala, it's rigged here and there. But what is the point? Why would you arrest somebody for saying you rigged elections? Oh, they have to come and provide proofs. Now, invite Mama Jabi to come and provide proofs. Ko, around the UDP call le kido sangyadi useno boja na pura police olfa. Onyam funny ala bekering. But I'll arrest ladi because Salman Dratonya kang. Chola na nga dol jiga, hey yo UDP go man la neef man go. I declare myself an opposition to this regime because the regime knows something about the killing of the cops and is one of the most disgusting regimes I've ever seen in this country. And of course, the regime cannot stay beyond 10 years. That's my belief. I believe that this regime came into power to make sure that they institute democratic institutions. The TRRC that they will never implement. You know why? Because that was an F9. You come to the Constitutional Review Commission, we have no constitution because deliberately they did not want a constitution because they are intended, their intention was to self-perpetuate and remain in power. So ni mol ko no nyine ben na constitution ko na bara ju malle nyanta constitution of falina no wala mol tinga mine tombong. So ni wala malla fi ko constitution of falina wada banko mol nyanta findil ya fo ko be constitution of sorala tilon kan wala nyaawo nyaama bare mba jela lo ko ngal terminal yo ke nan mo ke fana ngal bondi je. So to come and justify that no, the constitution said here and there go. Macky actually did a constitutional review in Senegal. So, yet he wanted to run for a third term, but a mole will take kata kela. And dola bango mole be mobe fanka ko be silari munala. Power belongs to the people and not the people in power. Bareka Gambia mansakunda la jimin be do ko la mansakunda mole kekeje. Katu molla kodo nkali jo walla. Molla namol e kali jo walla. Adolo wul dal kal ka fu mole ko adunda ja bota jan atul mom molu nafa na man ka kal fangol nafa so wara kumaya talanga je ko nyum sakunda e boje. And then trying to say that Almanta contract do deal a DIG Sowe to calm tensions is not going to calm anything, because we know that everything and anything DIG Sowe said someday ana dunia and la ko den get ana dala babola nyotole. DIG Sowe, go back to your family today and sit in the midst of your children and look at them in the eye and know that the person you allege with all your fabrications and lies is almost their age. Ye miracle wande dungo mi ya lon ko anente dungo le mufulangote ntango wuli ya sifa bela wala kam bimfela mbota police. I am going home with one of the worst records in the police force with your Alpha Bravo codes. Police will haine be jelala be commandro kala duma ka ko ela motatala anala code sol moma ning police fama mo kam fa min tambida police will fangoti bare man kula no je kato ni sifa la be kering abula ya fulali abula ya muta bara mama sa fo mama ita free kumba amde ya kumba amunde gis nga injustice nali yo bambandi banko kan drong aka fitino la wulu kato wati be sila nang inde be gambe de mama o sifa fo de ni mama be nyonyin lal fombe nyoje la dami de nga ngalon de nga mimbe kala wala asala muriya ham wol findinde nang bare fania drong momi ya lon ko akatu wuli ala fona mole pour ka kodo tebule afonke moro ti jang e fonga fengo be ngam me ko UDP mori ala fania la mori ke bawo etem moro etem NPP la moro bare wuliya ni wuliya wuliya saba kensan drong moli etelo wala. But then yalong hadama de ngoloka diam fire fon dundi so idia motalebe mbe folia, we will report you to police and we will now see what the police will do. Either they take action or not, bare min nyantan tolman tolungoke kato ngalon ne tolta wulla ya ke fangoyli UDP wata min nyantal malbe wulla ali wala ke tilimbali ya metal. But the whole problem is sometimes I don't understand is you focus so much on non-issues when and where you have major issues to actually pay attention to. But I'll tell you wala kante jakal that malbe kumo sifa be fola nyo, instead of looking at things and then work together collectively and collaboratively and see that, you know what, our common enemy here, or the common person that we definitely need to pay attention to, is the regime that is not doing good for the country. New Wulita, if they see a little flood somewhere, they say, oh, the councils are not doing anything. But what exactly is central government doing when all of these major roads are built by central government, but they will not put proper drainage systems, and later will come back to blame councils? For Brikamaro Osilo Kata for Base Jumale Olo, area council for central government, and why didn't central government put proper drainage systems on those roads? Brikama Market Jumale Alo, Ning council ita for council da Male Olo, and if it was built by the government, the fish market Jumale Alo, Nimasa Kundale Alo, Munat Namasa Kundama, proper drainage systems Kaje. But it's a Murun Kanavu Karamu Kotan Lebilim. Allah Shrifu Sonkonyo Benunjinam Kamula bedu ndi mole kani ba fen ko ni tapal yanin tilimbaliat mon arol sa fen fono mole alla nying area council fen ko li ka fo nyaadi la fam CEO you keep recycling them alte bayla because tapal ya ni min yala ngai gambia la ko besu nya ko na kilam alte wol ba atol bu ko bayal la masakunda masakunda nyom masakunda ko ma fa on na ma Masakunda mi along ko, Sirif division would be selling, kanisol nisi tang wafu, fangola. Nisi 11 wafu ultana. Ne o moy mundol. Kabrin dunia baya ulu. Nisi 11 ko wafu ultana. Nisi tanning killing ite wafu ultana. Nisi won nisi keme konondo. Ani nisi atondi subu kilo fula fangomo tambita keme konondo la. Subu kilo fula atambita wala. Ni wanten tilimbali yanin tajinte yanin kuriati ni banku nafulu sunyati oda fem mankati masa kunda min nate ko yae mulla land ni fenkol be tala to you are going to actually seize all those alla banda mun la katala la minister da malutima atol de ba furu da molti mo bebe tengun ningo kuta kira o kimo wahli wahi ni nyaka fayda yo lo ban geriñ lañu amal wen tol na famu ne la Of course, nobody would jump from somewhere to change the regime. But of course, people would formidably join forces with a vibrant opposition to ensure that this regime is changed. And it has to be seen in your conduct and behavior towards 2026. And it's not about focusing on these non-issues and this non-challenge. Focus on the bigger issue. So the whole point is we know that DIG did not get a new contract. DIG for Usainu Bojama be funniality. If DIG will have the guts to apologize for all he said, including his codes, many alonko tonya tekona be funnian in tapaleality. But most of DIG in Kaba or Saibe Fonyola Policiala, probably they can invite you in a media house and ask you where those codes came from. The court invited you and asked you, you said you cannot give your intelligence because of what? Be funny. Alpha Bumburu mi alon ko edingol siara usienu bojanti. Eddo ko ke police kabirin zandar mori jamano. Min tambita sanje tan naneti. Bi tebe finde kanje fo mol ka celebrate ka fo ko ye ko ku be fo ja be fanya nyin ko do ke kulon na mun la fa dole. Tabiri wo case be keri investigations were going on every day. You go to anti-crime ka tinya wolte be ta tabile jalbe wunia ulia sabala je ko na kilemu. Is nga aduna and deflanten daka deka village mboka. Some of us never even care about your politics. Man can musu ma deka si ay wahi politics. This is my own. I have always seen politics as boy, let me just focus on some other things. But I realize that focusing on other things is what would basically bring you into shit like this that which we are in. But have a look at it. DIG Sowe, you came outside of public media. Emuna foje. Usienu bojane police olfa atela confesta asonda la katele yake. Usienu nata kwata ko hanide. Man sonde. Ando ma fontela ngakede. DIG record ole mi yatandi ko usienu lake. Basic investigation. If you are to do that, what do? You put recorders and make sure that you record and you bring in an independent witness. Ya fa ko morom fele de recorder fele de mena record la leka na mimbevo. Nyimimbe shirintende independent witness lom. Malong ita malong andu mine nyini kala mine be tonya koyo do na fala. Usiretele police olfa on record, which never happened. What ali mingo mimbefo, it was just fabricated scripts. DIG Sowe, you were the de facto IG at the time. Why did you format Usainu Bojang's phone? Now that you are leaving the police force in shame. Momi Yalonko is in your custody. Let's even, in that court like Avoko, they actually solely relied on verbal intelligence to do that press conference. But when they were doing the press conference, Usainu Bojang was already in captivity. Now you already have somebody in captivity. That's no longer intelligence. This person is already in your hands. Now anything and everything you're going to say should be based on facts because you marry Bela Mutokonala already. So that means you do not actually have to look for intelligence to get the person. You already got somebody in your possession. So everything that you're going to bring out to the public must be based on facts, not intelligence or verbal intelligence. Again, people cannot even distinguish what intelligence and facts are after serving the police force for over 40 years. Imam millong you seek intelligence, but a mimbela muto kono already what a kenola intelligence di kotanke. Wala mutilimbaliati ale mintamani nyukono. But again, atolla ko alnata mola fena mimu independent witness te minko police ol atondi motokola resije motokola si anti crime bara ko kabira ta kadum anti crime ate dum tanin ko mabundalla bare jumala kadum anti crime suto dutala talantan nimfula kadum ning anti crime la ko mabundalla without you being processed in a security installation. Alnene o mundola kabira dunia baya ulu. I grew up in the military setting. Like Farafenya barracks, we have a back gate and a main gate. There is no way you don't live in the barracks. You are not a child of one of the militaries. You just enter any of those gates haphazardly. No, obukake. More so anti-crime where criminals are actually kept. There is no way somebody can come there at night and say, I entered anti-crime at the back gate. But again, nimoli moto problem also. Why is that to be solved at anti-crime? Because woman ke police station not. Anti-crime looks for criminals. Nyomi intelligent, that's why they... Oh, no. My mother's typical Nyominga. Morondol, but a berendin. Avoy nila Korea nila tapale aminka funde ko bini arasa avoy guy endolku berni wayolo ndol buka sila mola de atara ni mammo so ni mammo min tonye me tonye la funu fa nama haji la fun bola. But again, ina wajibe ko o mari lay atola independent witness di. Again, it is you people who will go and pick this particular person and go with him to Usainu Bojang and of course be asking him question. But you mari la ko nalka diamu Usainu yalka man ka kamala fire do bije bara ta man ka kamwe but ita man kamwe mo ita ka lon no nyaadi le ka woni kamin alla ñi independent witness yenen sa ñu lakal ko sosé way mom degut sosé wo legi mom naka la mëna understand ñu laaj Usainu Bojang. That also speaks to another disgusting fallacies and of course conniving criminals. Itemu independent witness ite me fon sambanoje but nying ibu soundo keri ngomi yalan kunun kunu be MDI tapaleya wala kana ye kamana aye samba foje min diya tali yale ndo ke nyinen kawola ya soronji yale talla hajola ibu sow you are a youngster like you wanna like any other person nimbi diaji sonyol min yete bulo tapaleya nin tilimbali yale bi wol fele bota police. Ebe sekang every order of your colleague will look at you afo konde san ibu soji be bang kunun karanyol ya tala dun jang. But that other anti-crime la boss minko Usainu Bojang in the vehicle. Now again, look at it. You said Kabirale Usainu Bojang Mutanan Kasamas in the vehicle. He confessed to you that he killed the cops. But in that vehicle, you were not alone because you cannot tell me the commander of anti-crime was in his vehicle alone, and then Usainu Bojang was put in that vehicle, and then he was the driver, and Usainu Bojang was just sitting at the back. That's not possible. That means it's either two people were sandwiching Usainu Bojang, or Usainu Bojang was there, and then he sat on the other side, and of course has his own driver. That means somebody in one way or another will be present whenever he's going to ask Usainu Bojang a question in that vehicle. How could he claim that Usainu Bojang told him that he killed the cops when there is nobody among his team to corroborate that? And how could he say that if Usainu Bojang told you that in the vehicle when you arrive with him, bring your recorders and everything, none other video camera repeat them, then you can use that as a tangible evidence and bring it to court. None of those things happen. Tapaleyan in Tilimbalian in Tajin Tialaba Kuokono. Moro, Almanyame Moti Jandi. Nemulia was our Kaluno Jai bro, Jayu Mala Tusner. Telumala Jai Nak Marco Ham. Osimon, a buy for you some school, say I for you some school, Magis Maragi, and Nin Manual Jetaque or Cat. Idealon and then will fall in Indakona Yami. I'm going along Kunda Kontanin and Cartage. Chat man pende chat sa metek me ko kamparo adol sa musilan no nyim banko ka ngeen lolen yakar lolen fi yakar ñolen ko fi gëna yakar so ñinom kuti mi yalon ko wala be kering the independent witness does not speak Mandinka, but of course the independent witness said they were speaking to Usainu Bojang in Mandinka. Now you do not understand Mandinka. How did you understand what is being said? Lolo dafa resonate that common sense. But Lusankare wa yep, Lola Mama Jabi collaborate again. That UDP ñoo dem jënda fetal andi ko Gambia joko jënda ko Casamance andi ko Gambia joko boy bi ni pour mu dem ray police. Why the national security advisor mo ñu ne boy bi acquired the weapon in Casamance because he was a rebel there. Ñun boy wo xamantene ñoo dem ànda dem school. Koko naka la nekké rebel. Court be andilen ngene yendolen wax yep you actually relied on verbal intelligence. You never got any verbal intelligence because this guy was already in your captivity. So nothing you would say that would actually be intelligent. Again, if it was a preliminary investigation report, where is the report? But within 30 hours, atole mumi muta atole you investigate fatole pareda fatole preliminary report sort kafoko anala ko conspirator le benta in a mosque and they provided him a vehicle to the thick forest of Kazama just for you to come back and say it's the sister that actually provided him the vehicle. But your witness said he was the one that took Usainu Bojang to Dar Salami on the night of that incident. Yet again, it's Mama Jabi that told us that Usainu Bojang left the Gambia the next day. What of Masakunda mun tonyala fontole nyunku obekono? Oma sakunda kilingolo findita kakule be double double two kind of, concealing every traceable evidence. DNA kata kenola. Imagine in simple military operations, because if they said there is an incident over there, if you are getting there, by the time you arrive at the scene, what do you first do? You have to barricade the site and secure the site. Now, the bystanders play a key role because the information you hear from them could be intelligence that you can use to determine what is going on, what is happening within. The intelligence was that number plate or wale police first that becomes a suspect who owns this vehicle, and then the characteristics of the state witnesses depict perfectly the operation that was done there. Because first, they are military, they have weapon expertise, and one of them said he was actually a weapon trainer at the military school. So need term weapon trainer, that means you are a weapon expert. You probably might be a marksman. Then you actually fit the characteristics of this shooter. Again, why were you there at that particular time? Again, another person who owns that vehicle is an orderly to one of the governors, and then he is in possession of a weapon, a pistol to be precise. He actually meets the characteristics of this shooter again. Hussein Obojang, who is just a guard man in Bruford, a young man doing his own thing. Near one in military from compare, who would be the prime suspect? But I'll call you moto be tuje, mini alonko molkale ko nyumoto tiwale nyimpoli solfa, aliyo tuje. And then looking at the characteristics of the owner of the vehicle, you know that it matches, the operation that happened in there. Combat those military people are military. They could also wear combat. For fananta kenol. Alko hani combat o mbe usenu bojanyoli ala broda tamu mindale wachikana. Aliya dunga singoro kota mankungala. So teach you enough lesson already. Baralimanda wo beladi. Ibu Sowe na ikana ulia sifa before no. When they are about to pick the gun, I went because there was somebody who knows something about the case. When you're funny, I'll be caring. Yet for the police to come out and tell us that, oh no, there cannot be any there cannot be any DNA test. But the military guy that did the ballistic examination said only 3 bullets came out of the gun. But the 3 military witnesses ko nyinki ditiyo kabera be bor kanda ka kido bun santol anda be tolo fanam bunkan. For don kidi tanna babulu banfomo. But he said it was that weapon that he threw at the watchman, and the watchman picked the gun and of course hide it somewhere because somebody told him to hide it. Min kaya kwa kido nyimabo al watchman o nyina boss wala mo interest le be jefoka ko kido nyimabo anu kana fo moy kidi mi yalon ko ital haji teje tam bulu medu sim medu ko mole mo fakete o tombo mo ba folete o ma wete o ma be bo ma. That person is a potential prime suspect. All the witnesses of the states are the prime suspect, and no Allah masakunda be boylam bebe arreslam be prosecute la so nyal be tamala nyim banko kan batara yan neta la banna. So these are the things. And then look, there is no person who undergoes basic military trainings who will tell you that Mansakunda knows nothing about this case. Nta fola ha, but a long one thing. Somebody with common sense and basic intelligence. You don't even need to go to school to know that. Even housewives in the Gambia know that something kula mantakuja. Orani ablay of alkali ablay arrestle because a kali yellow ko alie kulon police la fatal. Or alta mama arrest minko UDP le kido sang. Inata di usinu boja na pura police la fa ko usinu boja oba sio bilala mile tule. Mama ngeta mwele wara mala tamwe. Ngela moriala mwede bara mela morialonde. Sabe duma simbe duma. Yaga digarek moy muje. Wala mutonyati. But come to think of it, why was government so much under pressure to come out with that press conference? Ning ayatare bulu medo isi medo imanku keje. Moja le fada Gambia mi yalon ko Masakunda nena mafoko al million of ele nale moja mi ye fadron sal jowola. Mone atinda Masakunda is still afraid and unable to tell people the persons they gave this 1 million to. Of course, we got the letter, just like I read it here, that it was done on that particular day at the conference hall of the Ministry of Interior. Amulendara lolin fi munanuba. Ngo. Ndate la kudo Martin nako ikamin kembuka jade. Mbede nda Gambia la no Gambia mbe bading. Min ko eda jedro ngatonya ni tilmo tamani nda malu tema. In political Italia la political ke ni me winter you continue doing but me ibe me ngomin kredro ya tamani ni silo ni tonyara. Ali kodo chikali di mama la mama nata ning alfuseni nata wuliya sifa before sign mama la audio to while mama is speaking on top of her voice Usenu is talking about adunta muna atinda mansakunda nata kodi ko audio nyim filitali. That also tells you one single thing. In the entire audio there is no single part where Usenu mentioned killing the cops, and I do not understand why the defense lawyer will not actually bring this audio to court to play it. It is very simple. You know what the defense has got to do? George, I have an audio to play that basically has to do with this particular whatever. They do whatever paper procedures that needs to be done for the audio to be admitted. Bring the audio to court, play it. Useno nyenenka useno nka nyenkango me moja itella voice mo bang ha antelom ika diamu nunjumale mama jabi mama ye record nyenna la bang ha we diamu bane mama ni DPP ka filter iman jari yeto nyenenka ko tanke admit it into evidence, go and transcribe it and bring the transcription to court where no part of it actually mentioned killing the cops. Now where is the incriminating audio on the basis of which you arrested this young man? Ndamalongo Masakunda can be this dumb. This is not even about intelligent military operation. It tells you how weak our system is. That is why we have the Senegalese in our state house dealing with all our intelligence and everything. Gambia told tumarankele ba imbang dunia kono is like come am sa dom boy sa mboka boy dof tadi nen si yon bi ngir dafa dof mom du ko yek way mboka mi ñosi am gatché ngo iko nyamato min juken songo tama kan silo kate buka molala nyamati yana la juken sem manyala bada maloka tara badi ngul la nyato ni masa kunda e Gambia ken tol ye wala nyama because ni be Gambia jibe la silang aje kontrol la fengo be Senegal le bulu na security be tol la bulu for over 8 years 9 years our military has been disarmed. The great men in our uniform yodolo mota yol tilimbalia to bayje fenden for batarian in tilimbalia masana kinte ni mo koto lafta min balunde la mo la banko kam wale atina tajintian in tilimbalia be siaring. Only one person got security, that is Adam Barrow and his criminal gang. They militarized the entire Fonyi simply because what? Oh yeah, jame bol bubula joge. Sacha ngen be sacha ay tile you hamantene kodo yum ko fa tegon. Yana fi sohor, yana bon. Yana yesi aduna singul bu musa magisi aduna. Isa kuma we fo ya mo kaka mol fa kereta, but he was basically taking care of the Gambia, not mortgaging our country just like you did. Ndol la fengo be Senegal. Ndol sa fen fono Senegal. Mo tawde ne Senegal el sonkata jande kay buri kun kam. Kado kedite la sojara bulu. Fenta atol la intelligence be Senegal la bulu. Atol la mansa fang be Senegal la bulu. Ila mansa la security be minu bulu. Ita bo la bulu. Kadi de la mansa la be de nyaton kaka ni wala security be wanni mol bulu. Sa atol be jumal la bulu. Gambia be bulu lo kono. Ñun no mu kuti mi yalon kontenatol be nyanta wala jela. This is what we all need to look at and bring back our people, our own security. Moro, we should be able to rebuild that trust and confidence in our own people and make sure that our sovereignty is not compromised as it is at this moment. Because nila man sabe wande molde bulu, wote atolo bebe chapuri molde bulu, ntolo bebe mo chapu siselati. Now, ni mo min diata wali adro ebola kelantola because they are our next door neighbors. Who gives your entire security to your next door neighbor? Mi yalon ko na diata le biale bodal soron sini na le bodal yele. Senegal man kumpa Gambia la kula ko tank. Ngo iko kumpo la ka suturo la ka dunia samba. Isa moje konko setara la komna kini mo nama fo ita kulon na jianu ita judu na atli na la bare min na kullo belong yalong ita nyako do wonten fenti. Odon tolbe Senegal bulu wala nyama bi. Tolben fenti wala nyako. Fentem fo nyaton ka ya mi yalon ka man fahamuro ke man dunia kalangolo man dunia ta man de nyalong wala atin na nyaton ko faham balolu tombo banko kaka banko murundi ko male. Imagine e control ko Senegal's got cement factories since 1940s. Eco honey, you are going to monopolize the cement business into just few individuals, including your main sponsors. And then Eco Cemento Minkabo Senegal, you give those people almost $180 a tax. Itabuka mobe supply no banko molbe toraka wokono. You know, whereas cement from Senegal, umatol tora fengo fenna because banko molle ke muna fangal. Alko hani atol man lafi wala. Ita man lafi Senegal ngola cemento la bare wala itala tankoni sudrobo wala bul. Does that even make any sense? Ila banko moli ko wala tora hani cemento ita so no la kata Egypt ning Algeria la kata cemento nyina na water. Does it make any sense? Does it make any sense at all? Because you got to look at the economics of it and understand the supply and demand, nature of our societies, and look at our trade integration that we are talking about. But of course, when you have a useless government that is seeking monopolizing sectors for its major funders, so that ika Gambia do bal do kundikila kodinuma be table puri tolie baluno puri tola politiko yuruano, because nyaje politiko doka yuruano ika konko nim batale nyorila molokam isaje they can focus on how to get food instead of ni kono lo fada kanasi ka fo ko moro eman you look at other things. That is why at some point, what I want to Gambian busy I don't even understand what is going on in the political sphere. But around the world, you sit back and you watch but as work on people are too busy on other things because Mansakunda Mimbijaka Kongo in Tapalian in Tilimbalian in your Molokam, so that everything you are earning a kananya, a baker towel and yama puru. That is why if you are not financially independent, you cannot join politics, because they will shut down all your source of income, and you will be shut down. What would happen? They will inject poverty on you to a point that you will actually bow to what they want, and then you go and join them. That is just a little political tactic that is being used by the regime. Gambian kola ko tilinga nyong Gambian ola bara wala kontole ko mol min benu njam wala mom bete ya bare tolle bete ata. So ñun nom kulti min yalon ko be ñanta wala jela ñola. It's not about ki mu ne ki lila ki mu ne ki la, because man lu gëna am solo moy ni nit na nga manu te nga don nitu diga nguur gi ñoo xam ñoré police Ablay wax na ko ngeen tiyo xale man dam mo ñëwé ngeen tiyo en ñëw ma fele de ga waji ñaay mal du Guy, I saw Femi Mahoney say, I wouldn't even see Femi tagging me on suggesting those kind of things to be like a threat. It's not a threat. Wala mo kuma ken sangol let drone. Man luma gomo duma ko wax. Te luma wax nak dama si dee. Hey, ndabuga tare afam come to get into come I wax you can hamon. I'm on a time fini when we were at the UTG. Na boy yo xamantene dañ bëggon nek ay student union president topa di masaga rek for a whole 1 year, and then I ignored it completely until I realized that these folks will go to State House and start telling them that I was calling for a protest. You Mahamud Bopobe again be, openly coming to Facebook, kind of, alleging me of organizing protests. You Mahamud, what time ya jamedi accuse you Ken Hamud. Hey, come for Sowe. I'll send them the Tanatola, maybe because they're a student president, those are little politics here and there, it's normal. But if we want to get beyond that, one response, everybody was like, no. It's been 10 years and people, 15 years or probably, and they are still in the same thing. Well, look on. Yala albuka aja minika mulka minifo mole bandiki jabi minalko drone tidimbalian in Tapalea. Go. Albe Gambia bele sorona de bare mbal ñinen kala who killed the cops. Karunda malo ñinen kare kensan woka NPP mol balu dimi monala just to ask you who killed the cops. Are you not interested in knowing who killed the cops? That should be the interest of your regime. This is what you told us. When the incident happened, the president called the security council, and of course they wanted to know who killed the cops. And now I am asking the question, who killed the cops? Why is that upsetting folks in the NPP? Wala ka adol dimi. Adol nindimi na mambo nyola follow. Katalbe mwela wo mwelale. Albe mela mwelale who killed the cops, because we want to know who killed the cops. Na diara le bango mola ko do be taladi. Bara who killed the cops nde bal nyinen kala wala la fo jannin dunya be kirla. Na diara le fana al sama jindina. Na mo fana keno asaman bi ak suufsi ali la nyoka. Na liano. Hey, beto nyala tamane la ngana bango tilindi silo kam. Am fanya nying hasidiani nyinyo kongola for no reason. Because the more you fight each other, that gives an advantage to the regime to continue looting the resources of this country. Seek an all-inclusive government and stop looking for an exclusive party government. Listen to people from outside to have a say, and of course consider their opinions, because at the end of the day all you need is votes. When you start condemning people simply because they are not part of your political party, you are telling them if you come to power, nobody would actually have a say. And will let talano. Be accommodative, be tolerant, be open to opinion, invite, don't castigate, and of course chase people away. Go. Hani jawo foni sula tala moro. Afa en sula tela. It's simple. Tanate wala. Inindi la ke la dumale. Bara manke fana ko ni aso de multa pale ade no. Tilingo ni tonya ay tama wala. Imasa kunda do mo long wala ka bara ni wuliani tonya tanola. Wala ati ne nyanta bola je. So ngal tentu ngal jay badengolu. So ko moment drong wala nyinte ko DIG Sowe is no longer the police force. He's actually leaving unless otherwise as of today. And the police are very, very, very excited about this news. And of course, a lot of people are in jubilant mood to say hello, farewell. And of course, the farewell comes with a lot of negativity that this guy is leaving behind. And then after 40 years, you've actually stained your reputation and of course your record. And everybody will remember you with Mr. Codes. Alpha Bravo. Bravo for leaving the police force, for not actually getting another contract. Goodbye, and hope someday you have the guts and the audacity to repent and seek forgiveness for what you did to this country. Because you did not do it only to Hussein Oboja. Lying to an entire country about the death of 2 serving police officers is cruel and criminal to the Republic of the Gambia. Gambia mkolta yamfale ewola. Anama tonya sabatila. Rabaraka.
Kuma jamaa sika ikapo ya aja memana broda. Linto nyana taka tonya. Ni aja bi kunu milia ya aja agency. Bi mudna nan kote ka ya aja support pride na. Ye kuwal bonde joko dale pasai. Because kabiri ya aja power to since 22 years. Ibe ya aja kela. Aka mol fale, aka mol sacrifice. Rebi mtada for 2016. Kuma jamaa le pota de. So omoli mwiro kumofo. The same mo na nata murna kotek. Iko ha ye kumol minfo ye kango sika ya la ya jame tolle ka fonum ken ngo nyin lota mala fo badi bo fo jaraba ako atela lote la school bundato aya bulo la kungoto ako allah akbar ya jame fele moto fingo fele abedi ngo sikala abe sacrifice audio sika blood fo nyokono ako o manke to nyate ken ngo nata confessor ado ken ngo bota min tole akabe UDP parti leto mbata je kotek mo jama bomba mas nyol isita jang iko ka kumol min fo amman soto ni ka jamme agents o moy batana min tole mbotana ko nyin last gayo nyin yami arrest nanteng ay munefo mbet lo balal atele be mol fo yalon tonya yalon be mo gambe dingolti so nte ame fans of Yaya Jammeh but lam yalon ko far Yaya Jammeh is fault there mbuka je deny barante ka balanda me miyanko ye tonya je ye nyaka ci tonya nyin wala kan tedimi wala mobe Yaya Jammeh la ko mo fo kay te ko kata comment section do ko ka Yaya Jammeh ne ni Yaya Jammeh den si la political party nen alaji da bo fila entolo ne jim fele wato ka fo ne ndem Usain da kan ko mon Usain da mamari wala ndem ko so moy Usain da bu nem bari ka jele sai hani sa mbuka nende bar ala political party ala militant bedde pustane an luminan tara fo ngandalo Usain da bu kan ta bondi la ko tek
bari ya mira wala solution ti bul Gambia ak ñaato taba
no because
anyola alfa ne ya mira wala
no
APRC ni ndiro ndema lon nak
hani ndol bu ko ke bari yalla di issue is na brother these people they have to stop it
but be ngamunje APRC la fen ko ka Usainu Dabo ne ya mira Gambia din yalti ba ka wandi alfa fanande mo nyama ya mira wo antol di tapis le la ba anno altul ko alla tole Gambia no le banko di alla ko de baral fenen ni albi fikno wulindi kam because ka wandi politics
kabirin salta platform auto aske no gani ka tele nunje nen dro keta je
okay
because sane la life mala life let and momo lapta o katsa do nyinin ka leta sane nyinin ka but kabirin salta je mamoy ay Usain Dabo ne nta mamoy
no recordol be larin ne wo mundol be o moyle digo ya ki molele.
Okay, ni akimo la benu nendrol. It's up to him and those one.
Okay.
Ya understand? Ni mo platform auto. Kana ta comment section auto. Iko ka mo leader le ni.
Okay.
Ya ni ta comment section. Ya Yaya Jammeh se kay yané. Mo comment o ñin ninje. Ñen ta mo nekela. Don't let him talk about Tula. Ni man Yajam light, don't talk about him. Ni man Usain light, don't talk about Usain. But he told me Yajam of Coca-Cola. It's a morning. No brother, what is it?
Yeah, Tonya. The Barisa and Munal told us solution of the Gambia Benyam and Saint in Gambia Benyam, I told for Baja.
Tolla solution, Mutaba Diamaka, Gambia Musole. Because far more bail time. More Bula, for Bamalakaloe. So on top of the Gambia Musole, Nawuli, and youth soul, Nante City. Political manke kelota manke nyonengot. Nga more sensitized. Nga kekilente.
Bari amira Gambia Musole behind le kamansa di ya jamela kote keba. Ebe moy kan. Sister ela fe ko jidal de ela connection o jidal.
Ani mbe moy kan iko fon la Afrika mansaya di mala.
Gambia Musole ya mire be mansaya di la senu ya jamela kote keba. En sa fal be dame. UDP be dame, Mama Kande be dame.
Of course.
Okay.
Because nga tonya nyi nege because ye kama milala 22 years. Nga kama ye kama milala 2016 mo ye olege because it told me ye kama lale tola kana wuli ko tay ko amanka tonya ti itolle be nyim foka itole be nyim foka.
Okay.
Because it told me ye kama like kaka mo faleke akadi ni ngol sacrifice akamu zollandi itolle mo kili ngo huta na kotek iko itolla te ni tan ngo nyemi mutate ateko ate mo le sponsor pour ye coup d'état ka ta be jele.
Okay.
Yeah, understand. So mommy yako nitako okay niko okay nitako ita mubandi yoti ngaka masiga ngal ngena ata buka kote ndema ndako hanide ndele benyinkeka so ndebe murale mbafu ko wata ta mi ko tonya ta ngamuru yaje bekam and yaje is the solution of Gambia.
Okay.
Yaje madam masin dol bon ni problem moko no.
Okay.
And ala sonta madna la diam and ala sonta kila sonta Professor Alhaji Aya Ejeje Jame Babili Mansa Gancho Dinkendo abe murla nende aina mansa yakija Alhaji bari aina state house ngana coffee ming alita fa na brother be invite na state house ngana coffee ming
bari memilla wo baro ma do so silola alla mansa fo be muruna nyaami bankot baro so ya be jahalla bakil de
Anide nimbe to nyafole ya jamala na amande ben baro kan
baro mal go right to stop Babil Mansa
wallahi
Gambia
election bina brother yela moy la ka dekere election ya jamala na baro tala Gambia
ye
memina ya jamala na baro tala Gambia ha baro sa fa alhamdulillah rabbil alamin bani ya jamala na bina announcement la ba kala ko ya jamala kana ni lunkar na baro tala Gambia ni baro mambori Isala ko ala ten.
Bari mansa fon e bore ala siran kan pour mu ya jammel.
Yo ngasi palu we.
Okay.
Me ibande ngesi tele. Yana ngana ko mi ani ala jalo. Ala
jalo. Abarka baga sista.
Samba
Kamara.
Samba
Kamara ila ma ko yele ngata ha?
Yalo, people fail to understand this. This government cannot stop. Yalo, that was a mandate that was being set. Okay. Barrow have no right to stop Jammeh from coming. He was an ex-state, state man in the Gambia. So, Jammeh ima coup d'etat, right? Electional, aboitale, akoyoko akapintile, to give them time. Molle nata ishita yube arrange. So now you tell me, Barrow move right less to for Jammeh is to coming back to. Now I work for a woman for the cancer.
No, for me, I cannot answer that, but maybe the NPP.
No, even with your right mind, yeah?
No, the right mind means becoming especially down and who Jamal Laka can come in me.
No, okay, but then Yabula I now let them question him.
Yeah, somebody.
But okay,
energy you can menda a simple battle. Okay, Kapiri Jawara Tatanu.
No, but for me, I don't answer questions here, bro.
We are talking. We are sharing ideas.
For
lafta ka
them
energy
who
la
doesn't
mako
know,
rek
for them to know today.
zimbatu lafta ka energy la mako jan rek kabirin jawara tata no exile jumali bunda yele jawara pour jawara na nyamala ya jabale bunda yele jawara
Exactly.
nama
I'm
bunda
talking about
yele
that
jawara
side.
jawara tetina
No, you fail to understand. Jawara was outcasted by a coup. Yaya Jammeh was not outcasted by a coup. Yaya
Exactly.
Jammeh went through election. This is where you have to understand, brother.
energy
Understand. Yaya Jammeh ima baile. Yaya Jammeh. No, 1 second.
No,
I
brother.
just want to elaborate this place for you to understand.
No, brother.
You understand?
No,
You are
energy
a Messiah. You got to know all this. Huh?
No, brother. Ila
Yes,
moy bang kan e fam pusan pour nim mo koy ko adam baro da male ba right di do la ya jama ena ite e de do kana nyo sa bokke je fam because
Right, thank you.
lafta ka ma ko rek energy lafta ka premier rek pour ya understand aka work nyan right now yaya Adam Barrow is the number 1 citizen in the Gambia ya understand
ya Jammeh na sound na bota na okay
this is very simple this is very simple okay Mariamana okay this is very simple Adama Barrow is the number 1 citizen in the Gambia ni Adama Barrow ko no flight zone in the Gambia mola flight to the Gambia la fonyo mala jeni kalo man se mbo sotole anala to ya be jeni kalo man se mbo sotole ni nako popul holiday sama popul holiday nako sama moto dabor la Gambia kono no ka will work na to nya fonyo mo
so ya Jammeh wo fana sembo soto to come back as
sembo soto
we're talking about government here right yes Barrow is in charge at this right minute right I understand
you cannot understand
no it man walo brother go and read Iman walo
no baranga mum for energy
no it's what
because
Zibari
okay. Samba Kamara so after tolbe kachala al Samba Kamara so
okay energy bontere luwalo di nak na mo la mo jode
no brother no
APRC call Allah anyanda kamul lon jola ke kana woni nabe bundana Gambia ko ni tolma approve ni Adama Barrow ma approve ade dulla jola ke kana abdani kasama la dum kan fly moto dan na ji da fly do la domba arrest la samba ngada
assalamu alaikum
alaikum salam
misa bari ngal kon ba
ngejo
nganadi no kon ala ida ko nadi ndimma
okay ave jola ala
na bro la so na de kon da
ngema welcome
Gambia kuala ndong wala nimma tanta fudini bar nin kacanta illa nyoma para Gambia no ko kala moy nyoma ando na gam na banko kanu ka dan nen ko mo la ndo molto monete itu sia profesor bombe como sia profesor bombe como
Jammeh ben ko ma bi ko la taka APRC ko la address nu so bo le request solution ni la tolle la taka
coming foto coming nyonemo
e ka padi juma support follow
nte nonde hanien jangam e kan ko tam se professeur dr alhaji ya idi
bare APRC ko pe pare di fele la sinde adol
ni yelo fan ka falina ka ke girindi nde ba falina
2026 carte fawe dulal de
yala akaduda makamba wala basana min kumata ke kayro ko nanin tempo
wala bed
wala kumata beti anen fanan kal ala dani min bankola kayro ayo na dum
bari sa ide amira no nyaadi altol be dunla no nyaadi le banko kono alla man sabe outside le right now ate be dunla no nyaadi pour aller carte fa ici
yala ni election tam da ma banko do bara ay direct la nyanta carte fa
ayal direct nyaadi le
fa ani mama kande ma coalition ma fayji
ani bari won noto alliance lati
on tolle fam yaaja e wondol mu baru awul ma ke APRC mu baru la mu
Okay.
Okay, saya mbon ma diam kana kundu folo.
Okay.
Ma jamal la fo jani on financial
All right.
Bi ale be folota dan alko nyo nemo. Bi ale APRC platform do la je ba Ousainou Nenka. Amani manon nakate. Na keta amani. Ba Ousainou ta nyonya alfare ma to banko. Bare man ko le kuma dan tan fanan ko. Ni man da mo le fa jamana kan wani. 22 years. Kuma tije min man fa yaya janna 2016 foppi kuma tije min man fa yaya janna hani ni na tara dole ta do blanda bare wolta ni na wala kuma tije min ni don da min man la ya janna man sa anda manyen na kake bawsem alfati nyami ya jam alfati wala nyami mama kande mu alfati nyami ya jam mu alfati wala nyami esa fa mu alfati nyami mama kande mu alfati wala nyami ko ya jam le kan la mama kande ne mama kande la mul bina ya jam le o to ndela ya jam kan no bali mbadi kam wala purumo na bro da hani te fomeni la platform mo yele tan
Jena si gis boss
wallahi
na daw
afani mo ita platform trio fam akwai te mane fer ko kuma nyawninta duniya ko ne mamin la ya jami amut na nisa kuzo
bare yami ikon kane kuntu bari komi inte nin la pake jabi woto wala politiko be wala nyama komi ni mumbe nyaton ko yakan ite mo kelendi lay be wala polo krele be wal bebe place o nyina nyini kan tenga mira wala ko mo nyindi
fo bi ya jamme la masayala
bari bi UDP ngol man dara ka ya jamme ka jafide
na buru
be adam barole ka jafkan nte kam mum moy bake be place o nyini kan
tango ibo ite bandite kamin
nte kam mum moy yeah exactly
o mo ya tabaki wallahi lunteje man sele ya jamme ka amansa
okay
alungo teje ama alungo man na folo bare men kumata moro gambia dingo ananga tika kendo bi fawla ngonyora alfal bunya nta mon gambia di mon long kan lo media to ay wandi alfa saki kumo nyi mulu njaw ya ta nyawnya ya fam
ñong Amadou Diallo ñoo doon saga ya Ousainou Dabo ñu ne Amadou yaa fa bokk ju ne ha waaw yow dama la ñoo arrêté nak suma mbokk nga yi c'est continue non
ya man ñena mi sun liggé ñoo Amadou Diamé ñoo karab ngo si fal bladi
non ndela boole na boole wuti kana wori
okay
na molo
yalo mole ya safi wala ati
non ngade fa wala ji jang wala na nga fa
okay
na molo
banna broda min be je kaya gambia kutu ñoy
okay
nga kutu ñoy ne man kuto ñoy ka yube haw janda wala 15 barobe continue la banko kata nyama tawo nyama
so zaide pare da banko eta be haw la nyame ay tawo nya wol fi sera nga falendiro ka nga denga falendiro
na moro bala ni mo fe wota ko dal ni to banko di nyame na fata la ko
ani bari de la paka mun tandi gambiano la ko min tolti dano nga denga solution o jibe UDP ni APRC be kala nyame banko bondi abe nyame
ayalo say mon internet be non nen kambe den no la le
ani bari ya ne nendiro ni wonten solution wala ko nendiro ni wo nyanta ka bang
yo wala fo ngon nyanta kire nendiro la nyanta ka bang ngambulo nga baro
nka wala foy
baro e boji
good
but ni baro tuta jete wala de sina je ngano da 5 years nga nyon nen ko teke watara ayendang
yeah
wata ayanda na
kamara sabo ndino sabo ndino e kumo dini nyata
abarka bake woto kamara e memba nana wa kamara abarka bake ke ba ma ila dia mo pete ata na ke kilinti nga nyone ndiro bula nga nyone ngo bula kumo nyi pete ata le ala ku to no
kay si bara alnim bara kay nga mo bi konto plato no
ngejo
kal bi okero kono
alhamdulillah
da very good kay ngal konto alba do ko chalo
ngejo ino
kay gambia ko lam kay ngal be kam gambia ko war han ka be gambia ko da sare na da
ede ka political party juma support follow
boy si bara on kono soutien boy
ani ya mbemba tol ka sia jande ide be NPP be ngi soutien
ya non dole o marlo la
bari imam APRC ko al tol be bola jele say ya jame kamuru nam ide o jinyade fa tol le siloji APRC ya jame muru nambam fo mo be fa bidanin kanin la le la fo
no woko da to say maybe so tuno president ya jamete mangara wolle so no 5 ans because dol mo be diam ka woron to mo man dalil so ros ndala miralo
okay
because ngam be kana hakilo tamini jo kamina nyama bare abore je bo fero menas ken asinan o fero da mala because sembo da samba no o petam dema
bari ite hakilo kamani la londo kamba ite amira ya jame se podino do ayna nan gambia without ya adam baro ya kalamuta
na tan tele joya miro to da atara manyo to nye kaymo mba fala ta keno la sembodi pour ya jame na ma wanya atara kuma ragle foro
good
passe ragle le tul mo flotte ma
yo
ena filo sono kaduna banko kan okay nyaje fana tele miro lo fana do mol be jam kan ya jame la na bale ala gambia kon ya jame jana mina fa kolle janta tambela foro because nana rafa nda miro ni sansa kidana kana wonya nda male bi da minin na nyola
okay
because ni ya jeme abachitin la gambia banko kan bari wala follow bo la jana man ya soto
fase kitin ni follow
no okay darul da okay mon nta nyo sabalo to okay mon because mole kaula astafra fo e kaula la fo mon kaula bari fase kitin ni follow kuma kaula tambira ko
okay
so no kuma kaula senata la sira na mina contest da political la ina contest ngaji be ni mol la tala ko ke yalon
okay
ha na atra gambia nya fitara ntala baro ko la na dala ma dal ben nya fitara non ntala baro lo do ko la ata sina nya fitara
so okay oto ite la baro fo sai ite la baro 10 years o me te si sai
no man desi because mbe baro mba jawi akane modol be baro jawi akane kuma ko me laram ko ka ko baro ma fenje banko ko baro jawi akawna tanamu
okay
modol be jihad jawlo kono non janum baro kana bi baro jihad jaw kon e fanje gambia ko gambia fanna be cew tala mo me yalon kay modol bondi yele nyanto soro banko kan an kabi modol fana kana do ka fo ko o ma saman do ko ke banko ka ma feke banko kana fata est ce que on ta baro jawi akaw
momo na ya ala
zi munna ko la ta wala nsa yin kanu ma
aja ese nyon kan no
okay itam balal la ye alla 8 years o yalla 5 development experience jaba only 5 alla men develop gambia kon only 5 alla 8 years o kon
e bara min do folo gambia fanajuma
no oman
e bara gambia fanajuma yennin kale buru gambia fanajuma e bara min to do ngoro folo foy
mbota kolole
kolole e men ki yede jamoji
no I explain nyet rek bro
ma kono suja kam pour moy ngomol so e men ke kolol fon ko te nyamo to jiba
no mon man tala nyo sabola ay men ke jente ma jandan because
wala mon develop mono folot e men ki wala fa mon develop mono folot e men ke kolol
wala mundi
fon ni bi de grade santo la fo grade duma
mano me ka be ja meta jel
hanna dara meta je men ki je kolle nafa wamo mol fanana nyantode pour yela balu sotono je kabu kada o silo nyum fondama another ka school or fana
Bara ay ni kami na wala jabi doro.
Sa mo ko
ani
Ay ni kami na wala jabi doro.
ani mano ni meta gele ajibe zi zi ko ni ñetti tali la am ñetti tali la am baro man ke te ko lo
ni ñane fane taban law mano meta je kam ya jamela jam
ok taban la molo meta Johannes Leng mbatum palmari mani Johannes Leng Nyuro la palmari ma ani taban la te joso mano ameta jele kane fanele de
baron den Senegal be ñol law duraldo taban ñol wol ko fenkol lew dada manti barote de
abe skulo men la fa ka Gambia banko kan kaddo school ko do lo o matol wasaba
school
be min tole school ñin to fo mo le along
school men lo kan faraba kala fa ita nyamo jaba
kurjuma
pour mo le da lom do karanje
ya jambe lo
no ila moy
university ya jammele wolo de
ta nga ñoso dara
Afai do
mo be la moy kan
class
mo
be la moy every week.
ya jamme school lo je university lo je barona da e karamum fulan lo je phase 1 banda phase 2 da kanje university pour ñin kan metol kara pour mo le fan ba ka metol be solo je me ya ko metol fono fana ni ta tal mala jela je kara ya karanje phase 1 banda sa da phase 2 la ka
ok animu
onna da banko na fala fana banko toro la hana tra ya e baro gultaje
ATS ita man fel lo fue ka te ok sai ok ndata ka nyin kala ale 100 billion dollars so mi ko ale ata loan akodo ñu dunda min tole 100 billion akodo ñu tie dunda min tole
ya akibaro lo futara bam fo ya ke ko la di bam fo akodo mun kuma la dunda ba yo
ko mbatum alamma sa kunda fam fongo laf iko ale loan neta mi ga tara 100 ya understand ne o julo la tibata me an nyanda ka jo no atele ko nyinta ko do nyi dunta min do be pare kabla aten nata nan sanyi woro aten nata nan ne genal kana baroko ako nanata akale pressure gindla ba annata ale pressure gina increase ako nanata free education atele nata ale free education kansa ale atina sa mol dingol man tarat ke takan mol ma good education o soto gambela las wa se fele po education system o broke tale annata alko nande nada albe kuram over sonia ndimala pe mulma bi de fam kas power fe fam gena la fata atelle la masakunda alkamano de da karisaba nale mano de da alkamano de da 30 million dollars ma 50 million dollars mano nyinka sandi klina so mano nyimbe tinya alla de masakunda la samana atelle la government ko nanada albe banjuni bala de bridge la alma bridge atelle la government ko nanada birkawa wifi be ke solo la amon soto ya understand
okay so ya wala ko na time daga
no mbatum kana atela te government annatale mada sifarola mada government annata kam mol lel fara
mada so
odo development
member apola ngam matmut sa member ayekuma kama mole ha mol baro
munana aba baro jabe akolto ay so wala
okay
baraka kuro men fotan Gambia na wat mala e kron den min tolta num before jame time ani bi kuro be min tolta
ya jame time kuro be Gambia belto ko
ani da amatra be to
aha
okay afomo ya danda mundole
nga mona di la man dem Gambia nolti ite dana to alon ko ayite ol to lo bala mi madda men to lo mo to lo
no ite ka kiyam mum fo courant me da kana kiya courant man taran kiyam biko wa ko lol le mam futan nje bari kiyam adam barola wato len kiyam
ani fo ni fon kono bladol bi je di fon sayna fon courant futa do bladol fon bi courant bi da kana ko lol balo kay mam futa je fa ya jama jamana futa do am de bikal diam pro jamela ma fona baket e ka faamu barola ke ko mbolo fo ko ndalwa mo ni no la pour mo soto nyama am balla falam vanka nyama ale na nga barola do ko ngata mbi nyama because aba Gambia bi la ma koy kan ci
wa sibari mala bro dajiri kala ko wot kilina ngama ko makili fola ko Gambia be jihado la kono jalim baro kana fo baro da do jihado kono ba
ani de mo mo nat
wala ni bro
ila moyna ma fo Gambia be jihado ko ndokolo la dol be jihado men kono because ndengala na ngum lado bi je wol foda silola e foda qur'ana e foda gicendo fo bi barola ni jamano e wol sodo tay nundo wol bay ko men ko be ko le men tagga hani de tan cendo mon sodo je bi wol lado do le tamal bi je barola jamano tila fo man nyanto so banko kan pour wala fara yela balamba da tan ko ito lafta ka baro support ko baro development o ke men kira ma fona lafta ka baro se
so sa mbemba lafta le pour ko wala sutia ite 2026 ite ajale ko min baro le nyanda ka tambi bam fo modo le nyanda kana ñu face
mbo mo ñin ntol mo ñino la lankan tol mo banan diro fi si faram faso nya so la lankan to lafta mol la ntol mo ñino wala ntol mo banan diro nya so
so de la ka baro le tambi ko
table nya
ete la ka baro e tambi ko te fo
alla fanka ngata ntol kay ka pousser kata rek bari al nganda ha ñoo bana on al nganda ha ñoo bana
okay abalka ba
gagal kam fa
ngata one family
no memba janabe jinan so what fa do ke ba so ko bandiro baba jalo ta jalla atol be bana arab baro fo bana ita saaje bandir ko mo faja
okay ayo moele so ngata one family ngata
jumaram banandiro ke so
ato
one family ngata one family baba jay ba man ndiro ke jawa jay ana Allah man sa nen
okay sorry baba jano banandiro ngara ko den na selte la plateau kana ka ko nyi konde
ha yeah
nimbe to yelo to nyaade ni ngaje momo na fanal akere amin gambian wol be ngado nga kede amanje conseil abe parti do am nga kede wol ben nga kambe
ko atol bi ka si fatang fanso ga albi ka bandiro ke wala nam ko baba jalo ta janna atol be bane fa la president fo nga bane
ane amanta bana de na president bana wala bana amanta bana ko tan nga ba ma
ko MPP be
men la bolle la vantarante
so sa ngata one family
banandir bonde dadi je ko sante ngam bama respect ngala no mo kendo ngam bama so ni me bama respect foy dunda ka mo bana e bama bana an ka bi me bama respect to wala nante bana do gondam tan mo ko kacha
yes
bare ga Gambia je nyim political party min bebe Gambia amo bebe sukiline abebe bunkiline abeke bulo bula nyokane ka domoroke o kana kuyandi yalon ka fo kombe mbe MPP le ombe UDP le yetara fo la platform yetara wande platform ol do yemol nen o banga kuti min kulu o tata on mo kulu bali yaleti but yalon ku kilim fana bi je nyando understand de yalon ite bari ila nyim platform mo sina do le wi Amadou ibitane bija yale la kul mbe la muso tale bulle de ams mala muso tala bulle na sister la babulu mbata la bulle
okay
mbe mu bakilim fa kilim woldit ka fo ko mo e la platform wandi platform mo do wite ato dum false username e katara mol banen kam imantela o ke kam patito yala ko buko ke patito yala because nyim pati hetol be moti je mimbe sonna ka fo ko mo e findika mol banen ani nyo bondi je mol be o ke kala bala firi mol do ani kurubaliya bar wo man nyanna kela ko 2026 ye jaro ya kodi balale Gambia in 2026 Gambia will decide. We will decide in a sense that Gambia bebe fintila lembe kafunyo can we vote for someone who is potential to move that Gambia forward. Baro 10 years is okay.
So
10 years for president. The solutions ntol Gambia di wala nyando decide la.
So but I
ntol Gambia
ngamira sign language to this decide.
All political heads will be, they are all the leaders. Ida mal se bennole ye kacha. Ntol be to le koma. Because it told Kefon Keno le president na man ken tol Gambia dimol. So ntol Gambia dimol le se Keno fenti. So it's the same thing to Barrow. Ntol Gambia dimol le kafuta nyoka nya Barrow select. Ntol Gambia dimol le nyanta kafula nyoka nketenge. With all our difference, we are the same mother and father. He is capable to rule that country for 5 years. Next 5 years, if we don't deliver, we remove him and put the new one there. That's for Gambia. His Excellency President Jammeh, time he has gone. He's our brother, he's Dolla Uncle Lom, Dolla Father Lom. We are all one family. Nimbaro ketela brother ni moya ne ngate diale so ni uncle Usenu Dabo ketela ila dati ni moya ne ngate diale so it's the same thing. We are one big family. Gambia dimula alinya kafunyo kam 2026 we remove President Barrow It's okay. 10 years down the line is okay. We look for another solution. Thank you so much. Kafaman development okay, la kanyanta. But
legal Fuladu, you are welcome. Abarka bake kebama diamo better.
Thank you so much.
Oneness. Oneness so akonga denga ke oneness so. Marcus Islam. Okay, come on.
Salam alaikum, bro.
Alhamdulillah, jamare naka.
My friend, maa ngi nuyu ñëpp ñu xam ne wax nañ.
ñun laa fay.
di nuyu suma kuréel ala daaw ak Amadou ñoom dañ leen tase ci plateforme yu bëri.
ñun laa fay
te lu ma wax moo nekk ne am na kenn ku fi jógee wax léegi nii yëfi Jammeh su ñëwee Gambia balaa muy def dara dañ koo njëkk a yóbbu ko. ñu prosecute ko su firi ñu firi ko. xam nga leen rek laa bëggoon wax foofu noonu balaa may wax leneen. Gis ngeen Jammeh is not an ordinary person like other politicians. He's a former head of state.
Yeah.
The former head of state, ne ko da nga tup ni rek nga yóbbu ko.
Okay.
You understand? Loolu dafa war a leer gis nga su ñuy wax si media. nañ bàyyi di wax comme nit da nga wax comme lu ñëw sa xel bi rek nga wax. Gambia am na loi am na constitution. xanaa constitution yi Gambia suñ ko ceeñee loolu mooy tax gars yi prosecute Jammeh ba pare suñ ko waree ceeñ sax Jammeh du toog nii rek mu teg tànkam Gambia fekka there is no fekka nekkul dara tangible loo xam ne ñu ko teg lu dunda because bu ñu doon jéem a Gambia nekkul dafa toog nii rek gars yi pousse ko mu jéem a de yaa understand so nit yi su ñuy wax si media daf lay baax comme gars yi di wax lu am ne luy indi dëgga lu am ne dëgga la foo toog rek di nga mun a foo toog rek di nga mën a lifi sa
waaye yow loo ñu mun a wax yaa wax waaye mënuñ understand comme loo
waaw di nga understand
ok
Jammeh bu doon jéem a Gambia nekkul dafa toog nii rek ñu jéeree ko Gambia
ok
dafa am ay authorities yu xam ne ñu toog gars yi bind ay kayit teg lu nekk the same thing su may dellu si Gambia loolu mooy amaat
so yow yaa ñu woon ne Jammeh du mun a ñëwaat Gambia without
wax ma Jammeh du mun a ñëwaat de comme kii lu nekk di wane Jammeh su ñëwee Gambia dañ ko prosecute.
waaw because of dafa jàll wax yu bari ñoo jaar si Jammeh comme am na ñu tuumal.
déglu non bro bul déglu wax yu noonu balaa mu doon dem di seen wax moo amaat.
ok.
man loolu la nekk di wax. head of state doo lay topp nii rek nga jël head of state dem yóbbu ko ko.
so yow yaa ngi wax ne comme Jammeh dafa ñëw si dëkk bi.
dafa ñëw su neexee yàlla.
yow yaa ngi wax ne because APRC ñu ngi wax ne Jammeh dafa taxaw 2026 election noo ko gisee as a Gambian nga ko ne Jammeh moo nekk suñu solution wala.
waaw.
foo ko teg.
ba pare beneen koto bi wax na fi yëfi kóolóoli koto boobu xam naa xamul kóolóoli de.
kay kooku waa kóolóoli la.
déedéet keneen ki ku waxoon ne kóolóoli Adama Barrow mu fa def tali mu fa def school kooku xamul kóolóoli de.
non kooku supporter NPP la.
kóolóoli school yi fa nekk school yi nekk nañ fa depuis man suma taay xale. benn school bu ees ne ko fa.
loolu lañ ko wax nañ ko ko.
exactly tali yu nekk ak kóolóoli tam yooyu yaakaar na fa du tey sax.
du tey
ba pare wax na fi yëfi school yëfi UTG Gambia University.
Piran waaw.
waaw. school bi projet boo xam ne depuis time Yaya Jammeh la. am na phase 1 phase 2 phase 3.
ok.
xaalis bi yëpp mu fa woon kii daf ko nekk di ko continuer rek.
ok.
so loolu dafa fekk funding bi dañ ko fóon yëpp everything ba mu jee tak. Adama Barrow depuis bu mu ñëwee amul dara lu ees moo xam ne moom moo ko initié mu indi funding bi lu fa nekk nañu gars yi wax leena benn boo xam ne nguuri Adama Barrow moo ko initié ba pare mu implement ko nekkul fa.
ok.
tali yu mu nekk di defar yëpp yooyu yëpp xaalis yi OIC bi la.
waaw yaa.
so gars yi su ñuy wax naa nga wax lu xam ne loolu Adama Barrow moo ko initié ba pare mu des fa.
ok jërëjëf bro jërëjëf.
yaa ngi understand. waaw man foofu rek laa bëgg a leeral rek mu leer.
jërëjëf ñu dem si legal Fuladu mun ngaa ba te ñu wàcca si Amadou at commando legal Fuladu ok ñu dem si Yusa waaw Yusa tamit mu ngi nelaw ñu dem si Amadou Diallo you are welcome uncle.
man nuyu naa leen.
fay neen la bro.
foo leen toll si force ngeen nekk wala si second wala dañ ko raw force.
ñu ngi si force.
ay rang si
ñu ngi ko force ñu ngi ko.
ay kon ay aca saaf leen mu ñëw. so su ban waxtaan ngeen nekk na because man dama ñëw fekk seen waxtaan bi mu ngi neex trop maa ngi reetaan because léegi dama lay gis ne ñeneen yi suñ bëggee waxtaan ñeneen yi dañ leen dee bugg a sot.
waaw fu mu nekk nii kay ñu ngi waxtaan bi ko waa APRC ñu ne Jammeh dafa ñëwaat mooy solution Gambia bi UDP gars yi.
waaw boobu moom mooy solution loolu moom dëgg la moom mooy solution.
so yow mënuloo yaakaar keneen su dul Jammeh si Gambia bi.
non fu nekk nii Yaya Jammeh rek moo ñëw rek génne ñu si solution bi moom waxul ne ne ñun xam nga Gambien yi ñun dañ bëri ay kilis kalas ñeneen dañoo wax ne Yaya Jammeh mu ngi ñëw nekk président ñun waxul loolu su nekkee ne yàlla dafa wax ne dina nekk président dina taxaw élection Gambie joxaat ko mu nekk président waaye moom dafa bëgg a ne ñun dañ bëgg a mu ñib si dëkkam ñun loolu leen bëgg a waaye ñeneen ñi dañ dee jaxase wax yi Yaya Jammeh du mun a ñëw Gambie ba pare mu nekkaat président kenn waxul loolu si loxo yàlla la nekka yi fi président kenn du ko doy coowoo kenn du la musa wax ne kii mooy ñoo nekk président ëllëg kooku mu nekk président loolu du am loo gis rek dafa am ndogal fu mu dee jógee foofu la war a jàppalante
waaye yéen APRC yana am leen beneen agenda su dul Yaya Jammeh
kan ma agenda bi du Yaya Jammeh moom la di moom mooy APRC bi
kon mu ngi mel ni comme UDP tamit amuñ agenda su dul Ousainou Darboe Baba
non ñoom Yaya Jammeh ak Ousainou Darboe nekkul benn
ankay pour parti 20 years ba léegi mu ne du génn
kan la noonu
Yaya Jammeh rule na APRC 22 years
waaw
Baba Ousainou rule na parti bi more than 25 years so léegi yéen doo leen amul leen ñeneen ñoo
waaw Yaya Jammeh moom bàyyi na di because moom moo njëkk a call Gambia mu ne leen ne dëgg win ngeen ma léegi man xanaa da ngeen maa bàyyi ma dem kanilaay xam nga kooku moom dafa yomba
waaw waaye ba léegi yéen a ngi am yaakaar comme Yaya Jammeh rek moo leen
non yaakaar bi bu mu ñëwee ne moo nekk 2016 Gambia bu ñëwee ñu disappoint Gambia loolu mooy indi problème bi ba tey ñu ngi wax ne Yaya Jammeh su ñëwaatee sax moo gën
ok dégg nga
2016 xanaa du Gambia yëpp a déggoo
waaw 2016 bi Gambia yëpp a déggoo waaye
ok tey nag lan moo tax tey gars yi di wax ne Gambia dafa war a ndiroo comme Sénégal xanaa Sénégal du ñu leen copie
waaw yeah
ok léegi Burkina Faso ku ñoo wax tey xanaa Yaya Jammeh rawutam Burkina Faso
bu baax
bro gis nga fii su nekkee ne ñun yëpp dañ bëgg a delluwaat su suñ campé bi di naan benn ataya benn barada di dogante benn kotamburu nañ lifin nañ mayante suñ xol yi ñun ñëpp ñu nekk benn gi nga loolu su fi amut Gambia du dem because ku fi ñëw every 5 years dañ laa daa xëj na sax doo fi am 5 years because ku nekk nit ñi yëpp dañ sës yaa understand ñun jaay nañ suñ bakkeen 2016 pour Gambia dem si kanam
am naa laajte de ndax mun naa laajte
mun nga ko
non man mun loo maa laajte de yow mun loo maa laajte man yow nekkul benn kirib karab su ma paree mun ngaa wax waaye man bu ma laajte
non du yow
bu ma laajte wax naa bu ma laajte man ñoo ko fi pour ma laajte wala ma laajte la man loolu nekku fii man damay wax suma own idea
bàyyi ko mu wax
waaw soo loolu moo fa nekk su nekkee tam keneen am na pour wax mu wax Gambia loolu la xol yi yëpp nañ nekk benn kenn gënu fi kenn jàppalante mooy tax lu nekk dem si kanam
ok Amadou jërëjëf commando you can come up inshallah bro
welcome wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh
wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah
ngal be konton momo e toni kontona
ngejo
alhamdulillah rabbil alamin bari kontanta bake nga kaccal mom moyibe ke kanjang be ñandamuta la ñofe tenne because njel be gambelem be suula yo bar ni ngata rembe lola pour ka bula ñola alfa la rek bayo ko fana mo oda tinati auto njel gambe fondinkel gambe be kolaya mon ko non del saboni no jeeto nyaadi nyamala wala nyinti ngata ni londola nin nata bulati ko ngata ni londola nin kacata wala don be ño fahami yalla bar nin lota ite lata mun nan tego nen budu san kacata tema ko tek baje la ko be kono yalla yo nun yenyin kacha mun na di jakuma da baki ni watin wala be all over the social media cada dawdan ni batar la do ala platform o yele ay dole tafje abula lala e ba nenna e imo sama imo nani mo lulu kamari nen drom so ite ka munne ibari musolo ibarinno walla do barinno walla do famalo so ama easy so askete itela wululani wala wulula fawdal tale ibe nyoka wato watlebe ibe benna dulal to kata amma beteya ndel be mu gambe non leti mun kumaro jam wala minti ko nga banko jibe ndel ko 2016 nga falindiro kele bara mammolu febo sa nyanta mun kele wala minti nga muruba nga na mistake woni nga rectify mbe parce que te ku duno sikala yalla mo kelen ko ne ko le nyinke mo kelen man election ko 2016 gambia karkilum bele kambenda iko nga falindiro o falindiro nyi mannata a nyama comme la fitala nyami sa nyanta mun kele nga singa karanna mistake wala ngaje ko janne mambeteya nga kata bam moto fatla nyaadi exactly lota momo ne fondita nim misal fe ko nyimul lo nalde dro walla nyinsi banko samano do be ngalo nga natili ngala kari mankati kari wulu nyaate ninte so watu jumala ndel be leader sotala wonten solution problème ndel gambia surtout APRC ngol mbal dal na ko kile nandel fondinkewol dam be mo fondinkewol lati bi to nyalam jamme ay kato kenyim bangon kana ne mo fo be na afiki ya fala kile hala dara parce que domor la kino ka bon yebulle ibe domor la dame akino ka bon yebulu je moto kere mu yala ko be do ko kala bundala la ya be ka nyama ko to kenol la do yol ben problème o sotlal ndado ye tumirol mum be la kunna ntata fem fono la do fona na ta ate fo ya fan ko inde yala mbi santen ba fala do ye tumirol le la fono mum be fota janto tumirol lo o tumirol nying molbe to nyan la nyaade parce que modo be diamu la janto sinin so mas ken ya diam dolbe malla asike dolba koma dolba bambukan asike na diam da sinin so mo dolte diam la koteke fa duniya yela do dum fana ba agents ka asike ni ya diam dolte diam la koteke fana wala na nyin ko to hakil tuolo nim mo fula dun danyola nyin don na taw ya ta sata o do ma ta sata folo ngo ko to alabul folo nga mari la moy folo foni wata anata aya ta sata nga ta moy asonda do la balanda do la sai momul yalon ko ya agents nyin don ne la no asonda amam balanta to la yala wol boyta ite mun yalon ko ya support wala ate fawna ra itandi le ko nte kebaro lo wodi sai ite mun le be mun fala kote kuma date bul kote o don de nga mu da ko nga bula for right time o si no sita ngana ko kacha no wala ndele fem fono la yala ko ni ya fawne man diamu de nte ko fon dawd lan dara je nte kuma jaw fayno la kan nte kuma fono la ko ta nyini ke fon nga fawno diam ko moy sai bari ñi ndol yel talle fo wol paretal saya be laari ibatele batukan ning ate fanam pareda talfo ning atra ko mum fo be sabatini o kola momon ni mun diade ni be silal ala nyaade ibabula o tembole fanam be diamo fo la ka ko fayaka bar sa ande si ko dol fayno akana ne amanta ga daji godi e fele junu bo sot to wala na hakil tu wolon je fo nga hakilo tu je nga nyo fahami ya je la fanna dum APRC ko sa kata baage fanan ye dula muta ningo ye dula muta bi APRC fan ko fo ninkel fundere mu yalan ko lonnal le muyti be masa place o nyininka ala tay man la dole ita ay bampu won ko maye makoy be banku do ko le
fondike juma
bagar ke baaji bara mun dola mamba APRC
fondike juma
bagar ke baaji bara mun dola
abuda APRC abe min do
ayo mbola ma ana ane sano ya bayje bara be njelo
mo yala ko amatra APRC mo la so la nyaade
tan so do nganta bo no ko lay na mo mbala do
may ko mo wache
ndodro momo mbala tuñulo diga mandar ñoo sabala
ñewna boy
boy waya ni ngi wa
foga ndebe na miro la foga ni fana na de fana sita fo no la fonde mio jammu kaccal da mangi ñoo sabote nde fana ben tala foga ni fana na ni ngam fo jamu man ko reti fana sinta bay
no ite kon
yo so mun ko mara ja wala ñun diga bagar ke baaji be ngala benu APRC no be man sa ñi non ñun dega be ngañi Africa man sal lonne sa nda tele mun ga fo ya ay muruna to nyala si muruna nan banku diwna mati bar sansa ande hada yaya kitan nala ta na sansa ande nyim africa man soleto alautla pour yaya lo man sa nyinum fawn ibina mun kala wado kiti bambalo ni kiti yoke bi ya fo next month
hey broda kana wo fo mo lu la leer nga bay do am ne di way
o yi mo si fa jumal di Michael si fala muy dem debe na opinion le foka ma fo nga mum fo le bekela
bay ko mu waje
foka bula nim pare de fana ne ta fo
commande continue
yo ndema mala ni be mum foka yo muy la mirol tin defana na miro mon tala di
hani
wala memu fala non
okay so waxe lo lu jaaj
Michael
mbade mbebe Afrika janne nga Afrika man sa jamal le jamul yalla tala exal la mbele ngaje amenga fo lota ya yalla ya fam yala so mi debe na miro le foka ndengal na santing hala ada misal fe ya na da nyim banku kan nyando ni ko ya na da jam yala ye tumero le lakul fay da fan sinandi wot mbenga jere jan kiti bundal hana da moy sunyaro fanke sunyar ken sa yole afela ni exemple ñu sukura trafic la kies mo mekerende sañi jol say wati jol say han sa mambanno mona na mambanno kilis kala sole bi to nyama darje so e afana na keske keno nyamale ndika dia mani njele alo dia mo nimba fula ngalla mo yani hakilo nganda ni njusola ndema miro ko jando mu ya longo isa ko nga kule la ya ka mu ya ko manya na fula mbena miro le foka ndum mba foka ku woni mbunya ni fam respect wala ngani afrika man sal lonne sa nden kesi jolle be tamakan ko jando mu ya lon ko be na farin imanta taka nyab surtout ni ya lon ko la intérêt be damin do te la nafa be damin because bi te le alna ko mu ne adna ya bo jam imam comfortable itel masa kunde mantar comfortable so fati amana ni wol na do better yala chance di la wala o nyama ite chance di la betulo kiti bambalol la jando kiti bambalol jan 2016 is o fele ko na to ja o sida amanke sanjor sa karol kariyatol so sa fonde betulo ni so farin ne kono kote fana betulo mo kono ba ni adam be ka gambia mon kumande o gambia mu yen be sura mbebe den ni o gambia la I think ngamela nyanda solution o jibe mu yalla ko abembe ma ko ndaka dia mo no fanala I think habo bende na nga fem fo mu yalla ko
barka ba ka kewa ma inshallah barka ba ka ngana Italy kinga
inimbara ma al be kondo membe sando jangino
jo man
amanjara kam vala nimmo be diam kan abla rek ala opinion fo ngani wala moy because wala ke benta jam fo ni wonte be betara sin sa ben atal ni ko dol so mo jama hakil jama di mal ka kacha nyama ngal kanyola pointol je wala nyama mo ba fe so ate ko do gen membo diam wala ala miro ni ye wala di ala so ngala moy mo moy mentaji ota memma mentaji o drop nde nak menji dam bemba ngamo ya pendo le fo kan wole naati janga kamen ko adam baro na ka gamen ko la balbo sone aka o kuran ko wonni pen jamal men be ne ngal la fatara non sando bari ngatara jidal aka kuran ko men fo ka yalon nyul ka nyul de malon adama de ni be diam la kala ala fana la ko mira akumara bakala especially ni misin mode because ede ka kuran ko men fo ka polol samba kilo la ka filol fix mol buka kurango sot kurango na fali adam baro mandara diamo kan be lor ngabe diam kan kurango ta fo buka ibuka ta loptano do kurango kata personal kata lari operational be ki kan kol be ke adam baro ko mola SPA malo general SPA malo nyaadi le soto fa men yalo ka mol fix ko kurango te mankere banko ka ikata blado do le 24 hours full day kurango buka sot so nyinga kurang kuma jumale fate be gambia dol mandara damen se ko li balua ka balua men ning adam rona ta bankol sene itena te atra ya jambe be mano wa afrika gambia nol ma $700 imagine $700 adam rona ta sam asam $2,300 so ite ka fo mole ko adam rona ta kamul ma fa anata kamul fa kamul ma ko ya nyul ka fe am hani be bola be nyaabe bidirina ifon ka jele membi ta kan gambia boy kabiri ya jambe boda yalo wala na even ya korose even tol na association on ka fe ko nal be kenis kala al be place ota la modo wala adbi la modo ala al hakilotu market ya understand ya jele place always ni fe ko kare mantara kata ko ni ba bondi la